Thank you so much for chatting to us. Example, I know you the rest of the competition.
Thank you.
We're now going to head on over to the top of Group B, E United. They're right next door, so come with me. I'm here with Kickstart from E United. You were top of Group B. Friend, I gotta ask you the question everyone wants to know. I mean, do you not think that you were in the easier group?
I don't think so. I think the groups were pretty even, and I think there's lower teams in both groups, and I just think we played well, so I don't think the groups were that much different.
I like that confident speaker. I was trying to give you a bit of a hard time to start it out, but you weren't gonna fall for it. Now, coming into winners bracket, obviously a bit of a mix of the teams. Do you think that there's going to be a few contests for drop spots in the first few games?
I think there might be a fight for military base, but other than that, I don't think there's going to be much fighting in the early games.
Who's the biggest threat for your team in this competition?
I think we have our eyes on like Twisted Minds and New Happy, obviously, but other than that, we're not really scared of anyone. We're not scared of them, but we think it's going to be fun to verse them because we respect them as a team.
So the desk narrative throughout the group stages is that this is the most open PGC yet, most competitive as well. They're saying that any region can take that. Do you agree with them, and why?
I think the way that the games have been going is like it's less strategical and more of like 1v1 based of like mechanical skill, and I think that's a big reason why like any region can do good. I don't know why that feels like that, but that's just like my opinion, is that everyone is just running at each other and fighting, and the mechanical teams win.
Double chicken dinners every day of the group stages. Is it happening for E United today?
Hope so. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I guess we will find out. So there we go. Your interviews are done. We've had a chance to hear from all of the players, and now we're going to get ready to go into game. Let's head on back to the boys on the desk and hear what they have to say as we lead into map number 1.
Right, thank you very much, Sam, here as we continue to look at our top 4 performers overall. Day Trade United, New Happy and Question Mark. Looking fantastic overall. What we see.
Так, челик, добрый вечер, всем здравствуйте. Кто ворвался уже? Салам алейкум. Так, сейчас уточню у Скуби, будет ли эта псина вместе с нами. Или что она там? Он, наверное, будет, но... Скорее всего, будет АФК.
First and click right there and see what's going on, because we have got some highlights to look at here from going into the winners bracket as well. So,
о, господи, что я сказал? Скорее всего, без вебки будет. Жопошник, как обычно. Вебку не хочу. Может быть, вообще спит где-нибудь там.
Yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing from New Happy so far. They've stepped up to the case. Ming with some incredible individual moves, and they've been looking really good. Of course, the defending PGC champion right now, Toby.
They've been absolutely phenomenal. People doubted them coming in, so saying, can they live up to the performance they had last year? And I think Ming alone said, you know what? Yeah, we'll be all right.
Так, ну что, начинаем просмотр ПГЦ сегодняшнего с мороженки и с горячего чая.
So far from the games have some insane performances. We've seen them win some games, we've seen them do well, but also I like what I've seen from them macro movement wise. It's not just the individual skill, and I think that's what we're going to continue to see from them. Both clever rotations, clever
какая-то маленькая мороженка.
High individual moves together as a team as well.
For sure. E United as well, yeah, the winners of Group B. We heard it from Kick just before. He said it's not so much the strategic plays. You gotta go up, you gotta take the fights. They've been taking the fights and they've been coming out victorious.
Do you think they can do it in this lobby here?
Yes, but my worry is that they're looting mill to power. They're going to be even slower than they were when they had the shelter kind of alpha lobby split and with prison. So they're going to be a little bit further on the back end unless we continue to see these extreme east shifts and east endings on Erangel.
Let's take a look at the Fantasy League then and how that breaks down for your picks coming into the winners bracket. You didn't have much time to make your picks for the winners bracket. However, people got their teams in, you know. We have got Ming Kickstart looking strong up towards the top. I don't think there's too much surprise here, Toby, with those being picked so regularly.
No, they were farming, to say the least. I'm actually surprised to see Example not being higher up the list than he is.
Very expensive, but always farming damage.
Боже, ну у Дипа и фотка, конечно. Чё это за... Как-то странно он выглядит тут.
No, it's crazy. It's just he is the ADR farmer. He is the ADR goat. But there's a few like interesting ones for me in terms of how many have picked it. But also, I feel like this Fantasy League for the winner bracket was one of the most interesting ones because there is a really expensive one because you also have the captain pick that doubles your points, right?
Yes.
So you kind of want to have that carry that you put your captain on, and then you want to have still some other teams that can kind of contribute a little bit.
Let's take a look through some of our talents picks.
Я что-то не понял по поводу вот этих бабок напротив ников.
As well as Sam, we've got some captains coming on in here. Lots of appreciation for Flood to start things off.
I mean, obviously with Xenox, it's kind of mandatory, but Cam getting him as well now as a representative from NA makes sense too. Actually, Cameron doubling down on NA with Wildcard Pick and United.
Что это такое? Я не понимаю. Объясните.
Not so much American teams, true, but players not so much. But yeah, Sam also looking good. Uber there is Captain Flood going in. Actually a pretty good team. Tongs and Lou.
Дип, знаете, на Депардье похож здесь, я не знаю, блин.
Different compared to what we saw in some of our group stage picks because they're very similar across our talent team.
Yeah, I think we've had a decent opportunity to be able to judge how the players are playing off of the back of the last 6 days worth of games. Here are the important people, though. That's right. It's Kalaris, it's Avenger, it's Toby. I'm not going to justify mine just yet. Go on, Avenger.
No, I want to hear quickly what you kind of justified a little bit. Last K, you decided to go back to a Freaks player.
Зачем экзампл заставили так встать? Ну это же просто кринжово.
Last K is also cheap, I understand it. I'll quickly talk about mine. I feel like I found 2 insane value picks with Spion and Show, and then I had to go with a kind of a little bit lower pick, and then some support here for Perfect.
Ну вот первые 3 человека, например.
2,000-3,000 lower than some of the very top ones, and I feel he has a really good value for that one. So I'm very confident in my winner bracket team.
Toby, now I feel like if you look at my pick, no one's outside of 5K
из Украины,
There's so
Лу из России, Example из России.
Lou, I mean, either of them could have been my captain. Actually, I think I changed my captain to Clip coming into today, so that might be changed. Clip, I feel like, is the bigger fragger of the bunch right there. Lou was my justification pick in the sense that Twisted Minds pretty much always makes late game. So more time spent on the server usually always equals to more damage across the board.
You know how I'm always talking about how I normally go 25, 25, 25, 25. I employed none of that here.
Вот Virtus.pro подписали организация Twist, потому что Virtus.pro не может сейчас выступать.
Blinkers, and I think to myself, example's really good. Or I'll just tunnel vision entirely on that and hope for the best.
I think once you have the case where you have some insane players, when you're getting 100 fantasy points and it doubles, it might be valuable, especially now it's only 10 games.
It's extremely potent, is the captain role.
Салам алейкум, Чепух.
2 times it might be a little.
Yeah, 1.5 is probably the sweet spot. But again, it's the first time we see it, so that's why I've been really good at adjusting once we've given feedback throughout the year and throughout the fantasy team. So maybe next time we see fantasy, it might be just a little bit.
I mean, one main powerful strategy would be having, whilst we have the coupon here, please go and check that out. Use that in-game as well. Sorry, we're just so interested in talking about this. So one powerful strategy might be picking your mid-4 players that you think can all potentially...
Так, мы видим, что чуваки уже в лобби. У них пока еще трехзначный таймер. Мы видим с вами самолет. Самолет по центру милитари. Да блин! С центра милитари до Сталбера самолет.
Here in game in the Pick'em Challenge as well, we do have, of course, New Happy still very much up there, Petrichor Road. Currently in the lower bracket, but I can only imagine the lower bracket might be a fun time for them after that last game that they were able to win.
We were quite a few who were hesitant in believing believing in the Petrichor rise to the top of the leaderboard. But as you're saying, they sure did manage to turn things around yesterday, and curious to see how they're going to perform down there. But of course, New Happy, most picked team here, previous victors, and with how they've been performing so far, no reason not to pick them.
And do bear in mind, you don't have to pick just yet. You have to pick just before the grand final.
Yeah, once we're done with the grand final.
Yeah.
Then you can put it in and you'll be done. The deadline is there, but make sure you go into the in-game tab, into the esports tab there, and check it out, because there's so much info, still so much contest, and also go in and claim the coupon, but don't use it. Just hold on to it until you know all the 16.
All right, open forum before we get to the game here then. Toby, which teams are you particularly looking
Так, ну все, игра должна уже
into
начинаться на
this?
самом
It's
деле.
only a best of 10. All of these teams got to perform in a very
Сина, ты тут?
heavy
Нет.
sprint against the best teams in the world.
I feel like the teams that played
Делает
yesterday
вид, что
will
его
be
тут
off
нету,
to a
короче.
better start simply because they played yesterday. There are other teams that have sat back. Yes, they have more time to prep and watch, but when it all comes down to it, they have to deliver. The guys that came in yesterday, they're going to be more hyped.
I'd love to ask you, Avenger, as well, but we are out of time here for now. We are ready to get the winners bracket underway. So without further ado, it's PGC 2022.
Так, ну что, первая игра стартует, получается, да? Вы посмотрите, просто за спиной каждого игрока почти человек стоит. Это что нахрен? Это их став? Или это именно организаторы стоят, бдят?
Среди лучших игроков всегда захватывающе. Я думаю, что если мы здесь победим, я не смогу описать свои чувства словами.
Việc thua cuộc không nằm trong kế hoạch của bọn mình, vì bọn mình đến đây để chứng minh khả năng của bọn mình.
Красивый шрифт, красиво сделано, кстати, блин, картинка.
I think it's an obvious result. We played our best.
United come out victorious.
Basically, we sucked last year, and we don't want to do that again.
We are getting stronger, but day by day, and I feel like soon we'll be able to compete with us.
Completely wiped them. Is it going to be enough? Formidable opponent in that winners bracket.
당연히 한 번에 올라갈 생각만 하고 있어요. 이번에도 집중력을 잃지 않고 최선을 다할 겁니다.
Stop him. They can't slow down Twisted Minds, and they cannot stop Twisted Minds. Your APAC champions get their first victory. PGC.
Я правильно понимаю, что основу свою в этих роликах составляют команды, которые подписаны какими-то организациями? Смотрите, здесь нет стаков, которые без орги гоняют, да? Хотя, может быть, покажут?
Следите за тем, как далеко мы сможем зайти.
Нет, не покажут. Понятно. Понятно.
The real competition begins now. We head to the winners bracket. We're done with the group stage, can we? We've got our best 16 teams from Group A, Group B. They come together now. 8 spots, 10 games to be played over the next 2 days to make their way into the grand final.
Yeah, and the fact that it's only 10 games, I mean,
На Твиче там мужчина
it's going to be 20 games, means you
кодик скинул, видимо, на купончике.
Кому
интересно, чатик.
It's a real opportunity for a number of the different teams, no matter how strong they placed here into the winners bracket, to just punch that ticket to the grand final, because we've talked about this before.
Все, у них уже нормальный таймер, игра уже вот-вот сейчас начнется.
Understanding, of course, you've got those bottom 8 teams, respectively, from Group A and B, that are in that losers bracket one. They have to run that gauntlet. For those
За те 2 дня, что я смотрел, или я смотрел 1 день, или 2.
Then there's grand survival. Winning here is absolutely huge for getting into the grand final. 8 spots, like you said, that is a large.
Может быть, 1 день. Question марков 1 раз только показали.
Also, if you do start slow, it's not necessarily the end of the world, because there's only so many games to collect a large amount of points anyway, but you do still want to start fast.
Yeah, that gap won't quite be as large around that bubble area that we saw at the end of both groups. But it does mean that if you have like 2 stinkers in a row, 3 stinkers in a row, you're going to have to come up with something huge.
Certainly will. All right, no more waiting around. Winners bracket begins now for PGC 2022. We've got our 16 best teams here from the tournament thus far. Now they do battle. Now we go to the winners and see what they've got to show us here in the winners bracket.
8 from A, 8 from B. Drop spots have already been contested a little bit. We heard
Hello.
at the beginning he doesn't think there's going to be that much of a hot drop. I mean, at this point, these teams know how risky it is. You only need to look at Sonic's and
Игра началась, ё-моё.
That is the case.
Wow.
So I think there probably has been some sort of peace treaties between a couple of different teams, figuring out where they can go safely and just worry about trying to fight it out in the mid game, in the late game, where the things have a lot more control, where the teams have a lot more agency in the combat. The one thing however, is going to be this thing going to carry over a little bit from Group A.
Yeah, that might be the only thing that might carry over from Group A. Of course, we got to
Ну, Донава херачат на общаге вместе с НЛД, или они скипают все-таки?
Не, вражок, наверное.
О, хот-дроп, нихера себе.
Бля, какая хаешечка.
But they do get the flushes onto E and Hikari. Lash K bringing out the mutant here. All you can really find though at the moment. But yeah, we did kind of sense this might eventuate.
Yeah.
In saying that, Kemi, I didn't think it actually would. There's only 10 games. They go for it anyway, both of these two teams.
Yeah, Novo's free. Sure, BBL is there on the west side of Sosnovka, but I think this is going to be a one-game thing.
Интересно, BBL пойдут дофармливать их?
Even whichever team survives, which at this point is probably going to be TMA, but then they're going to have to spend all the extra time looting, and they're probably going to have to come in from the blue into the
Зона, конечно, пушка, ё-моё.
Including BBL.
Мне больше интересно, дейтрейды будут мост закрывать или нет?
А они так делали уже? А Доус умирает, походу. Я не думаю, что у него получится выжить тут.
Сейчас он все патроны проебет и получится.
Points on the board here could be in hand, but Aduzi should be able to get away from this.
Хорошо сыграно.
Понятно.
Это вайлдкарды как бы там.
But it's a good idea to turn away right now. They don't want to overcommit, but right here onto Sosnovka Island once again. The surviving freaks do have weaponry. TMA, they want to push.
Пацаны же спокойно могли отойти. Он все взорвется. Перемку вообще спокойно могли отойти. О, умер. Да, свидули. Смотри, 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 смотри!
Неплохо постреляли.
Да ладно! Вы серьезно? Офигеть! Это, ребята, команда, которая на ПГЦ играет. Про. Ну ладно. Чуть-чуть исправился.
Даже Артикс бы высадил, наверное, троих.
Артикс бы четверых убил.
PBL moving very, very fast off the rotation. If you're as far from the circle as they are, usually teams take a long time to loot up, but they just wanted to go straight ahead, and Daytrade were right there. But look at this.
А это что?
That's an easy shot.
That is a very easy, and that shooting
Нормально.
position though, really nice from
Это халявная машина и лут.
Take a largely influential position on the board that is there, of course, for that phase 1 circle. Darkmai makes his way back into the roster. No surprises there. He is the prominent member compared to Solol.
Это пацаны, которым всем, наверное, даже 20 нету. Вон одному только справа, наверное.
Largely locked in on day 3, but Darkmai makes his way back in.
It's not just for fun, it's also for adding experience, and even though being the
Если Химас будет кого-то бить локтем, то, возможно, это будет колотая рана.
Блин, ну ты хоть бы сказал, когда его еще показывали. Да когда он не бить локтем будет, а колоть?
Ну, колоть. Ну, знаешь, просто там случайно какой-нибудь заденет.
Опа, дропчик.
There's honestly not too many compounds that are realistically there, so you want to try and acquire them as early as possible.
there's some good hills that you can utilize as well. That while not quite as impactful as some of those compounds, we saw an ending that started in a circle like this yesterday, that where individual compounds can be incredibly important. Hilltops can still be useful as well, but ultimately just finding that space, and especially if you're a team that starts around the midsection of the map, going north, so you don't have to deal with the pressure from the south teams all coming into you, because a lot of them are going to be coming in from similar directives.
Well, this might be the first time in 5.5 minutes we might get a breather here, Cameron. You were talking to me off air before we were getting into the game, how like, well, let's have some fun with this today.
ОМ, наверное, дефолтно куда-нибудь в ангарчик или в эти... В дома сядут.
And by and large, remembering that it's only 10 games, you cannot afford to have these kind of matches too many more times. If you're the Guangdong Freaks, you have to probably give up military base off that one game.
Dynamo at the ready. They certainly hear the vehicles from Twisted.
У Донавы что, только один Сеул остался, все остальные новые?
Я не помню, кто был в
Донаве. Standard rotations to avoid as much as possible, give you the opportunity to
слежу за этим рынком.
Ну, хотя бы регионом бы уж сказал.
Не, именно рынком. Регион это вот, ну, Европа, Америка.
Азия не регион?
Я такого не говорил, ты сказал.
Not that first necessarily got them anything of value, but it was obviously probably a good feeling for them coming into the winners bracket to know what they're capable of at this tournament with this competition.
Confidence is such a strong asset to have.
Я правильно понимаю, что в группе А Нави хорошо разыгрались во второй третьей?
Смотрел. Ну, видимо, раз они тут, видимо, хорошо.
Не, раз они с первого места вышли. Тогда, когда на ПКС, по-моему, совсем там печальная игра у них была.
Congested. We already have BBL, well, what's left of them, the remnants, Twisted Minds, Danoa and Cerberus.
Просто на ПКС, видимо, для них несерьезные призовые были. Не мотивировало. Бедные BBL. Бедные BBL просто даже не постреляли. Ой. Какое печальное начало для BBL.
Тут мужички до сих пор лутаются.
То есть наших, кроме Нави, question марки и команда Twist, это NLT, Virtus.pro. Всем привет, здорово.
Тендерлос приехал.
Просто покатались. Просто тупо курьерами поработали.
Realistically, 5 to 6 points a game, Cameron. That's what you're most likely aiming for after the 10 matches. So if you're TMA, you've already picked up 4 kills this game. You don't really need much more. So not too much of a worry that they're still on Sosnovka Island in the blue, rotating in late. They've already accumulated a large amount of the points required this game.
Yeah, but just in terms of general approach to a round, you obviously want to get as much out of it as possible because, yeah, they got the 4 at the top of this, but that 6 game is an average, and you don't know if you're going to have a 1 point, a 2 point. Even the best teams in the world will expect to have at least one of those a day, or prepare for it at the very least. And I'd prefer to see them get as much gear as possible, especially on a gear flush place as Sosnovka. Take some meds.
Нет, мышь еще не пришла.
Ну,
я думаю, что скоро должна прийти. Братан, хочешь заказывать, заказывай, она точно будет годная. Типа, самое главное, чтобы ты понимал, что эта форма тебе подходит. А наполнение у нее точно годнота. Так что ты можешь не сомневаться.
But they obviously did give up shooting range. It would have been too much, I think, position to try and take basically in the winners bracket. You just can't ask for too much.
Day trade coming in. Not that
ну да, они сели с Плитом, Ронин и Ангар.
Shift левый будет.
Думаешь?
Было бы забавно.
And this circle is going to center up, so very few teams are going to have to move, but that river still being in play is going to make things a little complicated. Like,
на удивление заправку
are they
никто
going to try and make that send over
забрал.
the river now, or do they just
Нави сейчас, наверное, заедут.
in the meantime? You can see on the map, overpeakers are trying to rotate down on the south side and committing to
Ну, типа эти желтые
just below Danoa might be a little
дома такое себе.
Ну, они пока тут встанут, сейчас почекают.
Ну, понятно. Просто пока они чекают, там эти яху заедут на заправку. Кое мы поехали на перекресток.
Серьезно? Вайлдкарды с перекрестка забрали фулку и желтый дом?
Ну, это максимально терпильный дом, я не знаю. Этот дом, он в последнюю очередь заниматься должен, на мой взгляд.
Неплохо сыграны мужички на глобале играют.
Да, заправка с плитом уже яху, заправка пчела, это бабочки.
Identified overpeakers as doing was where they gonna send more people across the bridge. Now that Navi has backed away and now the overpeakers are backed away, they can have a foothold on.
Пацаны в итоге нормально милитари полутали, приехали, дроп нашли, полутали дроп.
Ну я так понял, они боялись сразу ехать, потому что они видели, что мост закрывают.
Ну, может быть. Да, но в целом это не ошибка ехать на поздних сейчас. Особенно с таким проком.
В жопе-то, да. Всяко лучше, чем Лебели поехали.
Although Daytrader kind of in that vicinity as well. Pugil's Flash, Belmoth are actually pushing over to that position. So I think this might be where TMA's might just have to be halted for
А эти все-таки закрывать сейчас будут, да? Но этим надо быстренько крутить на другой мост. Там файтиться вообще бессмысленно. Успевали, но что-то встали, почекать кубы. А, дроп падает. Понимаю. Там скидос всего 4 дня. Ну, у меня до 16 числа срок. Поэтому, братан, бери. Ну, если хочешь, конечно. Типа, какие сомнения у тебя? Думаешь, она окажется не очень хорошей? Там топовый сенсор, там отличные микрики. Единственное, она тяжелее будет. А, ну хотя, она как G-Pro. Нормально. Она и формой почти как G-Pro, и по весу как G-Pro. Типа, если что, начинка топовая, так что можешь не сомневаться. Я бы не заказывал, типа, даже тестить такое, если бы это говно было. Ну все, следующая зона хардшифт вверх, наверное.
Она просто на лицо туда между...
Да, она точно...
Сами этими механиками.
Может быть. Что за мышка? Да в телеге посмотри, братан, я заказал с Китая мышку по акции за 3000. За 3600. Беспроводную. Очередной экземпляр в моем гараже будет. Я, наверное, сделаю какой-нибудь стеллаж со своими мышками. Стендик какой-нибудь, не знаю. Люблю мышки. На самом деле много еще чего можно потестить.
To go. I like how they're packed close enough together that when they do have to potentially send on to a fight, they're going to be able to support each other. But this is very, very well done. I think they caught one bullet for a Snaker specifically.
Yeah, Wildcard was taking a couple of shots, but
Теско, но если у тебя сын хочет G-Pro, То я не знаю. Нет, она будет по функционалу не хуже, но... Останется ли доволен сын китайцам? Но это хороший китаец, типа... Ого, вот это нормально было. А, только это не он его нокнул. Оказалось, как будто он с Берила ему там, да, в точечку насувал. За кого я болею больше всего? Ну, братан, у нас 3 представителя СНГ на этом турнире. За них я болею.
Были бы футболисты, за футболистов бы болели. А так Соники есть.
Ну так-то еще Polish Power есть.
Ну, ЦПшки, ладно. Я больше слежу за выступлением черта, который войс орет постоянно.
А куда вот Зипьян? У него там команда сзади едет. Почему? Он типа настолько уверенный в себе или что? Я не понимаю. Ну вот он хардшифт вверх. Коем и с кайфом. Но сейчас им надо 17 гейминг файтить. Ликвиды рассыпались. Не обязательно за брендом гнаться. А, смотри, у тебя еще есть вариант купить G-Pro, если он прям хочет именно G-Pro на Авито с рук. Они там практически новые продаются, и ничего им, ну, не будет. Это, ну, как вариант. Но на самом деле... Ну, взять ту мышку, которую я порекомендовал, не ошибка.
Тут смотря сколько лет сыну еще. Ты попробуй ребенку объяснить, что типа это не хуже.
Нет, я и говорю об этом.
На стримеров, на рекламу и на так далее, и там везде все G-Pro.
Smoke's gonna come out though. Looks like Dante might just be wanting to make this run into the building itself while Adam is at the ready.
Мысли, что ему понравилось. Вот что, ты смотришь, какой сенсор, смотришь, какие микрики, смотришь время автономной работы, какой аккумулятор, какой объем, там, сколько зарядку держит, сколько заряжается, какой софт, и все, у тебя все представление о мышке. Смотришь форму, материалы, там, в следующую очередь уже. Есть фундаментальные параметры сенсора, на которые надо смотреть. Ой, хорошо или нехорошо? Ой-ой-ой, ну как вот они? Ну как? Жесть. Кто там за рулем был? Хоббит?
Не помню.
Кто драйвбайл, это вот полностью фейл этого чувака, мне кажется. Хотя там, конечно, за деревом, но все равно.
У НЛТ проблемки.
Да, с двумя сквадами закусились. Почему лук в спину не убивают? Они там ресом заняты или что?
У них внутри еще
Но я и говорю, лук в спину должны были убить тайлу вот эти. Донат полностью разрезается, еще с кайфом дальше поиграет.
We've seen this
Да не факт,
before,
что
Helen and a
разрисуется.
partner, and they have done some heavy damage, done a lot
А
of good work.
кто их заруинит?
And with
Никто.
this shift, if they can control
хотя,
the
ну,
remaining members
разрисуется.
of Twisted Minds and Tyloo down to their south, they are going to have a nice ridge to play up towards the north. That's Cerberus' position that you just recognized. Tycon did get the backup.
Yep. Himas, Hisaki making their way over, obviously along with Duckmite. So all 4 members for Cerberus have got the last major compound position. Spyro, now the last major member alive for Twisted Minds. They averaged 11 points a game, Cameron, through the first 10 matches of Group A. Just the 1 point gained in this one.
Ну, я думаю, сейчас Спайра Тайлу уничтожит. Если они не пойдут, хотя они, походу, пушить его идут.
Не надо его искать. Вопрос в том, что он на звук сидит, и там подловить одного можно сразу же. Со вторым уже разобрать. Нихера, можно и так.
Да ладно. Да ладно. Ну все, Спайра там тоже не уходит никак. Он карабин взял?
As you mentioned before, we've seen such a amazing
Ясно.
games from Salute, Howland. Usually as a duo, the amount of points that they were able to, you know, basically grab for Danawa from losing positions was quite.
Ну они на верочку играют, что-то не дыши.
Now at the moment, sitting in that second place position, tied with a couple of other teams.
17-х неплохой кусок территории отжат.
Ну да.
And it's starting to now calm down a little bit. Why? Because we've got 8.
Единственное, что чуваки сверху их очень хорошо законтролить могут, но они тут пока лежат. Кстати, довольно-таки неплохо он зафейлил. А, ну нормально разнокали. Ну и сейчас 17-е в спину подымутся и трехнут их. Хотя и вроде не спешат. А, там... Что это за команда? Не знаю, как считается. Цесы.
Церберусы.
Церберусы.
Still a distance away up north, and by taking these shots and just kind of moving over in this position, it is allowing Wildcard into a rather safe
17-е подъели одного
position.
ТМА, то есть в любом случае дальше, как бы тут файт не закончился, уже легче будет. Главное
Ну там Wildcard еще, ну да.
Они пошли сюда, но могут проебать Wildcard в спине.
Не, ну они стреляют по ним, они знают, что они там. Они сейчас в бутере могут сдохнуть, так или иначе. Сейчас там снова тройничок нарисовывается. Церберусы, 17-е вот эти. ТМА никого больше не потеряли, да? Нет.
Вроде была неплохая хае.
Все, его подожгли, походу, сейчас, да? Перекинул.
Have pushed straight into E United. This south portion of the circle we haven't seen much of for a while. It's 3 kills really for E United.
Донава посыпались.
TMA are gone. 5 teams remaining.
А что нам только что показали NLT?
Approach onto 17. As you mentioned, wasn't quick enough. 17 now can focus all their attention. I believe they know that they're coming. Xiao DD with a grenade at the ready. Peeks up, gets the spray down, takes a little bit.
Блин, был неплохо перевелся, но не хватило. При этом на обсервере казалось, что он так медленно это делает.
But obviously, surely you're going to see Cerberus push out. No, they don't. They fall back to
Неплохо
the
сыграно от
compound. So
Wildcard.
again,
В
they get a
принципе,
reprieve
точно
here,
так же
17.
неплохо они
They're
в
getting a
домик
revive. They're going to
заезжали.
have all 4 players alive.
The problem is they know that they're trying to overcommit onto 17. They could be giving up their compound to E United, who have just been trying to work the southeast edge.
Ну, салют от зоны, да, пошел умирать.
But E United are being shot at and tortured by Danawa. They're in shambles at the moment. They're getting revived. They're not really in a position. So that's for Cerberus to understand the kill feed.
А Церберус с киллами
The
вообще
other
нет.
teams remaining are all wounded fighting. This is your chance to spread out, get third parties in control. Instead, they go for defense. They stay
Вообще выглядит как легкая для
come
Ел.
back to haunt them.
They have 4 up and they have a very strong
Да
position in
не.
the zone. So at the very least, they haven't given anything up. Perhaps they've let
Тут у
an opportunity
17-х
go by.
все даже не
but it's about
очень
keeping-
неплохо.
it's an adage as old
Неплохо,
as
но
time,
им
or at
потом
least as
дальше
old as
вот
this game
здесь
is,
надо
keep
будет
4 up into
идти.
the late game.
Надо будет,
по
но вот если
склону.
они, видишь, уже
А
сейчас
на
пошли.
них будут выходить в следующей зоне уже Церберусы. В итоге 17-е будут дефаться на склоне от двух команд. А ЕУ сидят в ЛГшке и просто пукают в одну сторону.
Down the hill somewhat. They have spotted E United, and the same can be said for E United spotting 17. They did lose Flood, so Flood is eliminated.
Ну, корейцы бешено стреляют. Не знаю, как 17 гейминг.
Coming into this final fight, but a really, really big start from 17. That's 16 points already on the board. That is a huge amount for a 10-game bracket.
Но на самом деле Церберусам же ЕУ не должны давать выходить вверх.
Slight preference towards E United, but with the amount
А,
of space
он
that's
уже начал этот Хайсаки выходить. Он у них постоянно выходил.
Если 17-е хоть немного сейчас затянут с ЕУ, то Церберусы поднимутся и выйдут им в спину.
Смотри, как 17-е проходят агрессивно под них.
Потому что ЕУ почему-то не пикают вообще.
Ну, это посыпка ЕУ, я так понимаю. Намного увереннее играют 17-е сейчас.
Сейчас Церберусы могут по приколу еще в ЕУ выйти, вот будет весело.
Они это делают?
United must know that this is happening. There's no way they expect a team like Cerberus especially to just be sitting in that compound and waiting things out. They need to know that there's got to be a team there on the south side, and they do stop before they run into the
Если сейчас ЕУ заканчивается без потерь для 17-х, 17-м будет очень легко это выиграть, потому что у них комфортнее. Им просто сидеть ждать, пока Церберусы выйдут.
А сейчас смотри, сейчас верх закрывается, и Церберусы будут играть уже в сторону ЕУ, так что... Они сейчас не идут вперед, потому что верх их типа сможет спотать.
Да, они не идут вперед, потому что им не надо. Они контролируют и тех, и тех. Они видят фул. Тайкун вообще не тут.
Но они думают, что кто-то может все-таки там выйти.
But they haven't quite got probably the understanding of the way that 17 are positioned all the way out east.
Yeah, I'm seeing how they have a couple of members looking towards their west, and that to me shows that they don't exactly know that 17 did make that wrap over towards they were on the west and then made their way back towards the east. So that's just sort of the downside of staying inside a compound like that. But the shot gets a knock on to show it's going to slow 17's push just a little bit.
Yeah, and that's probably all it will be, a halting here of the momentum that 17 were building up. That's a great nade, by the way. I mean, in fairness, Rallo and Snake is not in a position as a duo to really push on that knock. There's not much they could realistically do. I should add, Shouty D holding up north as an anchor to make sure that Cerberus cannot wrap up on the north side and catch 17.
Кстати, машина это взорвалась.
17 right now are feeling quite confident that they can't get third-partied.
Да не, не знаю, мне кажется, что...
Looks like they might be pushing forward, but then they hear grenades, they have to fall back. There's really not much space for them to move at all. They have two giants on both sides of them.
Here come Tycon and Himasto for Cerberus. Shots in
Вот эта хае должна быть...
Нет.
Слишком ослабили хаешки, но раньше они были слишком жесткие.
This could be two big points for Cerberus, and it is many points as they can probably get early on, especially since 17 are already just soaking up the points from this game. 12 kills, looking for 14. Rallo got knocked, looking to get now finished off by Show. Cerberus need to get involved here. I think they've got to pull all of their members over to this and take the fight with 17 while they are scrappy.
Взорвется этот шоу.
Ой, хороший.
United do go down. And that's a huge knock, but it's a good counter by Little Ghost. 3 on 3 at the moment.
Big spray, and Shouty D catches Hisaki.
Ну все, Церберусы в лобби.
He catches Hisaki down south, but it does give away his position to Duckmai. Duckmai gets him to half health, but goes prone. Himas and Hisaki down. It's a 1-1 split now for Cerberus, and Duckmai is down for the count. He will not get revived. Tycon, though, will stick this one, and it is successful onto Himas. The two best fraggers for Cerberus are still up. They will not get Hisaki, though. He is gone. It's a 2 versus 3. Tycon, the 18-year-old prodigy from APAC, big down onto Suju. Now it's a 2 versus 2.
Trades back and forth, smoke grenades thrown back and forth on both sides. Duckmai has been confirmed, so he cannot give any more information over. But the 2 versus 2. Tycon is pushing forward. He wants
Ой-ой-ой.
He finds low ghost. He can get the second one as well. Tycon can now confirm this for 17. Shouty D at the tree. They should have this information as well from Duckmite earlier. He did get flushed.
Хорошая.
By and large, they should know where he is, and they do. They know he's at the tree.
Молик
Oh,
есть.
Tycon. The future of PUBG from Vietnam, from Asia.
Да, хорошо.
Oh, he's just walked back into the Molotov though. What a molly from Shouty D. Now it well and truly is all up to Tycon.
But does he know that Tycon is on the left side? He's still peeking the right side of the tree. At some point he has to check the other angle, and Tycon is going aggressive, but perhaps not aggressive enough. DD closes him us.
He has been waiting for this moment for years. He joins.
Ну, мне кажется, что Тайкон выиграет.
He has been sitting and waiting in the wings for this very moment to put his team on the map, his country on the map at PGC in the winners bracket. It's down to Tycon versus Shouty D of 17 Gaming, who have by and large already collected a huge amount of points.
Oh, they're looking at each other. DD taken down very, very low, but Tycon can just hold strong. He has priority over the center of the circle, but he's actually moving away. He wants to keep Shouty.
Да боже, серьезно, чувак?
Get some loot here. He's got a couple of smokes, but no nades, no mollies to flush him away from that tree. I think he goes scrambling. He also changes up that position, and now Shouty D has to start guessing again. Tycon, what a spray! Oh, that's Vietnam. That's APAC. That is one of the best players that we've got going around. Tycon.
Соло для Тайкона получается.
Так получается.
The confidence to not just hold on to the tree and actually leave and back away, to find an angle, to have that confidence, to not freeze up. Amazing play there at the end.
Considering his age, considering the lack of experience at this kind of level, Cameron, it is such.
Ну, Алексей Гордеев, что значит бюджетная мышка? Для меня за 3000, до 3500 рублей очень бюджетная мышка. Максимально бюджетная. Что для тебя бюджетная? Типа, я пользуюсь G-Pro, которая 12 тысяч стоит. Сейчас.
10 rounds for the winners bracket. Every single round counts.
I did say at the end of group stage A, Cameron, he was 10,000 on the fantasy pick'ems, that he will go up and that you should stick with him. And what does he do? 6 kills, the win. That is a huge amount of points for those that still had faith that he will be able to do it in the winners bracket. An incredible moment. And the
Здравствуй, Эртмен. За кого болеем? Ну, три СНГшные команды.
Guess what? Couldn't have asked for a better desk.
You're right, we are the best. Thank you very much. But you know who are better? It's Cerberus getting that win here for the first game in the winners bracket. What a win as well. Down to a 1v1. And Tycon.
У меня по ссылке почему-то 4000 рублей. Ну, зайди в оформление, она будет стоить 3600.
Oh no, I mean, in that end game, there's a good 50-50 who comes out victorious, and with every single move that Tycon makes, actively just pushing the winning chances towards him. Very smart utility usage and very smart usage for me.
Definitely so. Let's take a look back at this game and see how things played out. Of course, we brought it up whilst we were talking backstage here, Martin. KDF kind of has to relocate, but you think there's a decent answer anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Freaks wants to go to Saki, and unfortunately the plane path didn't allow them here for Northern Circles. Well, they would have been perfect for them, but it didn't work out. Cerberus, fantastic game for them, though. What a push in the end. Like, the way that he utilized that lower ground and constantly, every time he got spotted, constantly relocated. That was super well executed. But 17 Gaming, guys, for me here, what an insane start. They had so many team wipes, and the amount of points they're going to get, they're easily going to take over Cerberus in total points from this game alone.
And the way that they set up on the north side, come phase 2, they have full control of everything that is north of shooting range. And then they just slowly push in, as you're saying, massive edge control play coming through to the forest and the southern side, and almost a 17-kill win for them.
An interesting dynamic towards the end as well here with 17 wrapping all the way around, not really wanting to fall into the trap of what Cerberus was kind of laying down. Then eventually forces that fight here against United, and you know that third party eventually kind of comes here, Avenger.
Yeah, United was in the unfortunate middle of a third-party sandwich, and they got kind of pulled up on a few times in the situations where it's like couldn't really do too much other.
Почему пес без вебки? А почему он всегда без вебки? Поэтому и сейчас так. Завалили оба хлебореза нахрен и не разжигайте мне тут всякую дичь в чате. Обоих сейчас отстраню нафиг. Мы тут PGC смотрим. В прошлом году он с вебкой же был. Ну, протух он за год, понимаешь, испортился продукт.
It's set to hero, fantastic for Tycon, and to think that he was a sub for the group stage and Twire and the fantasy teams, that's just insane. Not this time round though, he was expensive. He was actually so expensive, I was like, I'm not even gonna consider him. Yeah. But Tycon here, of course, big efficiency on the ratio as well, 7 kills, 727 damage. I'm loving what I'm seeing from them. And also, again, hypothetical cutoff, 22 points for 17 Gaming here. We're talking 65 points, maybe 70 is going to be our top 8 cutoff. So already getting a third of that now is insane.
Yeah, definitely so. Let's take a look at the numbers overall here. Little Ghost putting in work, like so was Shouty D. Other things I want to talk about though are United, obviously, you know, for the most part.
По поводу мышки, типа я не видел, ну типа я к покупке рассматривал всегда только топовые сенсоры, да? Тебе там скорость ускорения надо параметры смотреть, чтобы чтобы понимать, насколько годный сенсор. Там 3 параметра у сенсора, на которые надо обращать внимание. Но вообще дешевле 3500 я вообще даже не изучал рынок. Не могу ничего сказать. Потому что я не видел ничего годного. Вот если на глаза попадалось, я смотрю, дерьмо. Типа, ну для беспроводных мышек 3370 это тот сенсор, который надо брать. Еще 3395. Вот, 3370, 3395. У G-Pro это Hero. Ну, короче...
APAC is your champion. That would be fantastic. That'd be a surprise to me coming into this tournament. But now I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't be that surprised because the way they've been playing has been absolutely phenomenal. I must admit, though, I was a little bit worried seeing how passive they were once the fight took place between TMA and
Кто скоммуниздил?
Hillside. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity for you to clear out literally half the circle and take full control of there. They didn't. They opted to stay passive with 2 players split off down the southern side. But I think it's because they were worried that maybe United were going to try and make an aggressive play towards the compound as well. Potentially.
Типа предыдущих поколений я сенсоры даже никогда не рассматриваю. Такое. Я уже забыла, как он выглядит. Надо будет у Артикса показать собаку. Где Марселек? Он походу в сетке лузеров, чё? Завтра будет... А, подожди. Или послезавтра. 10 игр у нас сетка винеров, это, наверное, 2 дня, да? Я не знаю, я не смотрел расписание.
I will almost already say, I mean, they're gonna make it. Like they started like this, they have Pachinko Picado, like it's just too strong.
I mean, once they got the ball rolling yesterday in Group B, we saw how quickly they just skyrocketed up the leaderboard. Because 17 don't win quiet games. They don't get like 3-kill games. They come out in double digits. They come out swinging. They do so here to kick things off as well, and I don't see them stopping before this is over.
Coincidentally, though, for E United in this game, I feel like they're not normally playing quiet games, but this one was kind of a quiet game compared to their usual.
And I think a big part of that is because that Cerberus push never happened. They were ready for the Dynamo push, they take them out, then they have 1 player left that they need to worry about because they can never play backstreet. But because Cerberus never committed to either 17...
Хочу посмотреть, сколько G-Pro на булл-рынке стоит.
But no one's doing anything. What are we waiting? Like, guys, just go out and do something because they couldn't make the first play from that position.
В Ижевске, например, да?
already lost 1 or 2 players, and you're in the situation where you're the center of the circle, you're getting these circles, you can't really make aggressive moves. You kind of want to just honk it down and hold on to that circle so you can survive for as long as possible. Also because they knew they cannot push north side along the ridge because then they're going to get backfilled. So they had to kind of
Ну вот, Суперлайт может. Суперлайт 6000 рублей в Санкт-Петербурге. Чувак продает. Очень хорошее состояние, в комплекте мышь, провод, USB адаптер. 6400, вон полный состав. Еще и глайды какие-то нормальные у пацана, походу. Ну типа... А, ну поцарапано немножечко. Единственная проблема G-Pro — это дабл-клик, который бывает у ребят. Но это супер лайт, а обычная...
I think it's going to be rough crossing the bridges. I think it's going to be rough with the aggression that we've seen so far, especially here for Take Me Away.
G-Pro Wireless.
In general, freaks probably not going to come back, or they could be...
Если в идеальном состоянии искать, я думаю, это будет не дороже 5000. Типа, это тоже отличный вариант на самом деле. Но просто, если появится дабл-клик, надо будет заказывать микропереключатели с Алика и перепаивать их. Ну, это в принципе, не проблема, на самом деле. Глайды, тайгеры на Алиэкспрессе заказываются. Ну да, и посмотрите состояние его мышки и состояние моей мышки. Я не знаю, блин, там плохо видно, да? Свет плохо падает. У меня там тупо палец протертый. Да как? Во-во-во, фокус нормальный поймала. Вот тут протертое все. Понимаете, да, сколько я пользуюсь? И тут, кстати, тоже такая же херня у меня образовалась, как и на той фотке. Это, походу, у них какая-то болезнь, мне кажется. Потому что, вы посмотрите, она идентичная той. Видите этот скольчик такой? Вот тут вот. Он такой же, как там на фотке у пацана. Вот, вот, вот. Идентичный же, реально. А, блин, я... Смотрите. Такой же скольчик. Надо себе свет поменять. Суперлайт лучше? Ну, нет. По сути, то же самое, только чуть легче и немножечко другие микропереключатели, но она не лучше. А, там игра началась? Нет? Да? А, игра началась. Черт. Забазарился я тут с вами. О, там Донава уже по спайру накидывает. Мизинцем царапаешь? Да нет, ты чё, такой пластик попробуй поцарапать. Мне кажется, это какая-то болезнь, покрытие там отваливается в определенном месте.
Какая-то болезнь — это пикать магов всегда.
Клоун открыл рот, блин.
I think a bit more of a guessing game with this kind of circle as well. It can still go south. I think yesterday we saw it go to those Jazz Knife fields away from the more northern section.
Вообще,
which obviously we had a couple of those in Group A. One even going on top.
Immortality Pro Wireless тоже отличная мышь. Я не знаю, сколько она сейчас стоит, но она будет даже дороже, чем та, которая сейчас на Алике продается. Плюс-минус у них одинаковые наполнения, мне кажется. У меня этих дезадеров 3 штуки валяется. Если я никому ничего не отдавал. Как новое. Это говорит о чем? О том, что ты мышкой-то ни хрена не пользуешься, блин. У дезадера очень быстро стирается матовая поверхность. Очень быстро. И она лютая пузатерка, блин. Чуть-чуть проворонишь глайды и сразу пузатерит.
Going to be able to do with these Pachinki Picardo positions as well in this group and just the sheer firepower that they have and to think that.
А то, что у них клик каждые 2 месяца ломается, это ничего, да?
Да, у меня ни на одной мышке у дезадера не было дабл-клика.
У меня было 3 и все максимум полгода жили.
ХЗ, у меня вот все живые до сих пор. Типа, у меня есть Razer Abyssus, который лет 15 уже. Она отлично работает. Правда, ей уже лет 5 никто не пользуется, а то и больше.
Direction of the rotation likely knows that BBL have now sort of looped in front of them.
А что, у BBL прикол какой-то новый или что? Они отомстить решили?
Думаешь, типа, они специально начали закрывать мост? А их же не эти закрывали.
Ну
их
да,
же Дэи
закрывали. Типа, нас закрыли, но мы тоже закроем, что?
Obviously for BBL, they lost 2 players in the last game from that cross of the bridge.
And then everyone else on the continued rotation.
Yes.
Хуёб-то всю инфу имеет.
Oh my god, wait, that's Quepa. Like actually behind.
СМШ упал, алкаш.
Radio tower. Okay, KDM don't have nearly as much information as I
проверил такой, проверяй.
Only one for now, and only Hikari to
Нормальный угол чувак сделал.
On the road leading up to Radio Tower, and obviously, as we can see, he has eyes on a CAD. He has information that he can convey to the rest of his team. But for the Guangdong Freaks, I probably sense they won't be looking to cross that bridge for a bit of time. TMA, though, will eventually be making their way over to this position in due time. They're only just now leaving military base, so it's about.
В смысле не встречал больших беспроводных? А вот это что? Джипро вполне себе большая мышка. У Глориусов есть беспроводные огромные мышки, по-моему. Надо посмотреть, ну, их до хрена, что-то ты это... Что-то ты гонишь.
Что делают бибелы?
Я не знаю, что они делают. Хотят слиться. Чувак сидит, смотрит.
A misplay from BBL after, honestly, a pretty decent move from them. TMA have made their way up to the radio tower, but Crazy got knocked down straight away. Good shots onto a card.
Кстати, хочу заметить, перерыв был не очень большой, или мы просто заболтались.
They were able to obviously pick up some decent points against BBL. That's now all 3 confirmed. Obviously, still Code Marco alive. Now they'll have to turn their attentions to TMA.
TMA might be backing away. Again, this is a very, very weird fight to be having this early on in relation to where Circle 1 is. Speaking of which, Cerberus shacking up in Severny with 17 rotating, a couple different angles around them.
Yeah.
Logos does make his way past, doesn't get caught off, and now they're actually on holding multiple sides.
А чё кота в мешке? Ты плюс-минус примерно представляешь, какую форму тебе надо? Какого кота в мешке, блин? В инете заказываешь возврат, потом я не знаю, какие там у вас законы в стране, но у нас, если в интернет-магазине заказал, тебе не понравилось, можешь без проблем вернуть. Батулин, кстати, водные процедуры, походу, принимает.
Ну, его не очень просто тут будет подспасти-то.
Да. Ну и, походу, О, Спайра хорош. А Спайра хорош! Давай. Мне казалось, он стреляет намного правее модельки, а попадает. Как это так?
Taking these fights, hitting these shots, they were really precise, clean with the aggression that they were putting out onto the lobby. But that first game, not quite what we saw from them in the Group A. This is a little bit more their style, hitting these kind of shots with this kind of pressure on.
Да, и походу прямо туда. Но там очень плохо встал перфект, очень плохо. Глушитель на эмке у чувака. Алкаш. Перфекту надо текать отсюда. Хорошие хае могут быть от дипа, прям очень хорошие. Да-да-да-да-да! Найс! Как хорошо!
А чё, Леночка помогать придет?
Леночка текает с села.
Man, the amount, how comfortable Spyro has been camping on that rooftop. I wouldn't be surprised if he had an entire tent, a stove with him, space heaters, glamping at this point because he is just comfortable holding down the angles that he needs to onto Helen.
А как все хорошо для Донава начиналось. Нокнули Батулина.
Now, a little update. Crossroads position in Sosnovka Island, but Guangdong Freaks are still there. They have not moved.
Получается, ошибка была спасать тиммейта, надо было продавать.
Starting to make their way out. They actually rotated over to the Lighthouse Bridge, and they're now pushing their way up north. But Code Marco's still at the bridge. He's still there, and the Guangdong Freaks are still there as well.
Как это Куэмы, да не заняли Ронинов? А, едут Кукуху. Кайфом занимает Хоббит Кукуху. Но это заявочка от Куэмов, я думаю. Зона очень часто... Какая хая мощная. А чё это? А вот это что? Найс закрыли. Боже, турки! Ну как так? Ну что за херня вообще? Просто в фулл преимуществе стояли. Как обосраться так можно было?
Они причем фрипоинт заработали,
да.
Чел поехал, убили, все. Ну, либо стойте дальше так же, просто пусть они едут, либо уезжайте, все. Возможно, там заказ поступил, им отойти надо.
Навид виз Куэмы. Question marки.
Again, a lot of open space around this area of the map. I mean, Jeeves does find the angle, but it's going to be an angle of Alia sort of...
Что-то халявно Аля как-то умер. Максимально на халяву. Тебе не кажется, что стратегия Нави немножечко не классно выглядит? Как ты думаешь? Вот сейчас...
Похоже немного на вайлдкардов.
Мне кажется, в этой непосредственной игре она вызывает небольшую смешинку и удивление. Какая-то несуразица.
bracket. They do not even give Yahoo a chance, and still they land a headshot, and still Yahoo doing an okay job at least to try and get a knock here. But I think they've gotten away.
It's close, but yeah, they are able to make their way out. Instantaneous decision to leave not just one vehicle, it was an entire Lion King wildebeest running down the ridgeline that your host showed and presented 217. They're not going to hold and fight. That is way too early to make that sort of gamble, risky play. TMA arrived to the zone, crossed the bridge. Day trade right below them. Belmont is already moving towards the north. Potentially heard the vehicles. Either
Блин,
way,
я так захотел секрет рум чат. Оставляю Скуби на вас.
Interesting 2-1-1 split there for Day Trade. I don't necessarily mind it. Flash Puccio is probably the more prominent position closer to center. But then having the two players back, being able to sort of watch for those teams looking to backfill in, take those southwestern positions, aka TMA, can give them that information. But you've got to be careful that if TMA get aggressive, they spot that solo, they push, it can be a very quick elimination. So we'll see what happens there, but TMA have halted for the time being, probably waiting to see what happens here for phase 3, but you can kind of see there, Day Trade, that is a lot of space being taken from them. Obviously, they've got that petrol station there. Phase 3, though, where does this one go? Who is quite the team to be fortunate here in match number 2 of the winners bracket? It goes to the north side. That's pretty good for QM. Obviously, Overpeakers will go back to their position. I like the split 2 for Wildcard. And 17 will probably be quite happy with the northern split here and be able to play edge on the north side.
Navi with some shots. Twisted Minds pushing on in, but it seems to be all in one singular vehicle. It's going to be an aggressive send, and that's a grenade at the ready for Helen. In the position that Helen is at, he knows that he's likely going to have to defend against a potential push.
This is a very dangerous position for Wildcard, the warehouse. It can get crashed so easily from both sides. They do not have Waiki, Kamukau, and Nikus watching the backside of this warehouse. This is going to allow Cerberus to basically pull up, and I like this play. This is smart. Great shot, Adam, pull back. They give up the warehouse, and that is probably one of the smartest plays that Wildcard could do. Prefer the compound over the warehouse. The warehouse is so to crashes. You're just constantly fighting. It's so difficult to hold that. Really, really intelligent from Wildcard.
Что-то NLT, по-моему, рановато в эту яму приехали, не?
Просто у них одна машина, они, видимо, подумали, что они потом уже никуда на одной машине не доедут особо.
Здравствуйте, товарищи бойцы, здорово. Я не знаю, с тобой здоровался уже или нет. Скуби сам собака, зачем ему собака?
Just slightly bit by bit, zone by zone towards the east.
Yeah, I don't think that had anything to do with Day Trade. I think that's
Если только там нюхать друг у друга, я не знаю.
We saw them really fighting with Belmoth. I don't think he was sort of warding them off. I think TMA just got the sense that they're going to have to play western side, which has already shown in this lobby to be a little bit more open. Howland has been eliminated, and guess by who? Lou has wiped all 4 members of Danawa. He got all 4 of them himself. Very greedy from Lou. But obviously Twisted Minds won't mind. They'll take the points, and they'll be very happy with his individual performance. Xiao Yang pushing up.
Ну, сейчас экзампл, походу, откиснет.
Fortunately, for example, he has the tree for cover.
Отходит хотя.
Comes out. Example falls away from this one. They've already lost 1 member, so they're still playing as 3. Just gotta be really careful about spacing. Grenade comes in. Simple down to 73. He's gonna be pulling even further back. Might just want to give that space up.
Ну, попробовал, не получилось. Уезжает. Не знаю, Нави прям что-то... Позиционка не очень.
Тишки катятся без колес.
Much rather Mel getting those long-range tags, as you said, whittle them down a little bit, and then if Tai Lu continue to push, example, an Uber can play the crossfire a little bit better, rather than basically a solo pushing out as the solo man up front. 10 more seconds until phase 4. Day Trade getting involved with this as well, so a bit of now actually happened onto Tyler. Look at that map. They are surrounded.
Да, вот это они, конечно, приехали. Ой-ой-ой, ты посмотри, кое мы, блин. Как думаешь, NLT останутся снизу? А, вон Спайро уже пошел, но сейчас там ликвиды едут.
Wildcard are loving the circle shift. E United especially are going to be loving the circle shift.
No, нахрен.
A push from KDF. Flood already gets 1 knock.
Мне их логотип напоминает пятерочка, как будто я постоянно смотрю, блять, магазин пятерочка. Не знаю, так.
Obviously for Snakers and Rallo to have to wonder about position now.
Ой, сейчас будет -2.
Where it is really open. That is a wonderful nade.
Но нахер. Еще и фраг забрал.
Steals one kill, gets another knock as well. And they're going to want to close this up as quickly as they can because of the hard shift against them, but they can't go too aggressive with it. They want to pull
Ну да.
make sure that it's nice and clean and controlled before they then push into the south side.
There's a push though, Mal getting close to Balmor, so this is going to be a bit of a free-for-all down to the south. Na'Vi still have to contest with Day Trade as well in this vicinity. Neurons is knocked, big time.
Решил за зоной поиграть.
Would love to get that revive, but I just don't think they have
За четвертой? Серьезно?
Ему подъехали.
Ну, кстати, неплохо подъехали. Только где подкрипа?
Они все тут и высыпались.
They have another knock against Flood, however, Yoho going to continue to push on this. It's an easy decision to make if you're Yoho.
Коемов показали, кстати, это очень редко происходит.
Swing down to the other side. He is going to pounce. Gets a couple of shots, but again, no knock.
But enough to push Shimboy back. That's the main thing. They cannot get Flood back out though.
Где Соники? Петки лузеров.
Закроют, full крайфиш не будет вообще.
A full strength E United really would have been able to thwart Yahoo.
Там перфект. Экзампл за зоной сдох.
Making sure 17 can't wrap him behind them. So really good pressure in this 3-1 push from Yahoo.
Иван там я не... А, что?
Он за тачкой бежит.
Я надеюсь.
Нет, ты же не думаешь, что они настолько поплыли, блядь, за 4-й синей?
Да нет, я просто сначала... Ну вот, экзампл на халяву, получается, нокнулся? Не успел или что? Там не было людей, которые по нему стреляли вроде как, и разменов никаких не было. Он просто там в таком ЛГ, что по нему кто стрелять-то может. НЛТ остались прямо внизу. Вот я хотел об этом. А, Мелман высыпался.
Kickstart, of course, as you mentioned, did push forward a little bit, so he can now play as a solid from here, go for a rank tank.
Ой, бибельчик за синькой.
Да.
Кто в спину не убил.
Ну, сейчас тяжело НЛТ будет играть.
Учитывая, что на скалах кроме одной команды никого нету, они не могут идти под скалы, а идти из-за верха на ОПшек тоже не вариант. Я не знаю, что тут вообще делать.
Someone to silhouette over on their north side.
I love New Happy's position though. They cannot really get pushed from... I mean, technically Yahoo could push over onto them. That is something that could eventuate, but I think Yahoo will be very precarious of making sure that 17 can't push it behind them on the north side.
Это они там картинку ведь замедляли, я правильно понимаю?
New Happy just have to worry about the teams coming from the south side, so they don't have to move too much.
TMA, they have to move a lot. While we're talking a bit about the teams that are in the zone in Phase 5, the teams outside, it's wide open sends into the few compounds that are already there and already held. And so TMA, they need to go on and push onto 17. Similar situation, Na'Vi get eliminated.
Так, Иван посыпался, Нави рассыпка. Определенно у них в студии, где они сидят, очень темно. На вебках ни хера не видно, ребят.
Тут сейчас оба сквада просто закончатся. И 17-й, и Тимашки.
TMA are coming out with some huge numbers. 2 games in a row coming away from the opposite side of where Circle 1 was, and they are...
Батулин играет, что-то подронинов.
Every single time.
Very interesting fight here. Compound not in the circle. Minute left. This has to be quick from both teams. Haisaki pushes up.
Nice там
Haisaki knocks himself down. He couldn't get it in through the window.
А он что, он не увидел, как он Кае кинул или что? Я не пойму просто.
Big nades from Wanka, Kamukau, and Nikus is very successful. Adam wanted to push out with the DPS, but guess what? They're all gone. Patulans will finish them off for Twisted Mind. Cerberus, like 17, big game 1, but have faltered in game 2.
Good hold by Wildcard, helped by
Что-то НЛТ прям выдумывают велосипед какой-то, не?
Так там нечего делать. Они пытаются найти, куда могут третьей стороной хотя бы прибежать по фарму.
Ну, на New Happy, наверное, вправо как-то. Там они могли...
Ты не можешь, потому что ликвиды мешают.
А ликвиды не видели тогда? Они могли, до того, как зона сошлась уже вот до такого, они в предыдущие могли туда подниматься. По краю.
Могли там, ну, во-первых, New Happy смотрят, во-вторых, ликвидам видно подъем.
They are the kings of the north at the moment. Well, there's nothing else there, so they can have those great grand lines of sight between Belfrost and the covering fire on the opposite side of the zone, while the rest of the team, even Sparking in a vehicle, is trying to push. Sparking wants to get involved. He's that thirsty for a fight, that's thirsty for a kill.
Well, the Northmen have to now down south over towards New Happy, along with Overpeakers, who have a very, very nice 2-2 split, controlling a lot of this basic circle. Shots now.
Ну, NLT все, я думаю.
Shinboy with two, but he has to back away. Punich gets confirmed. This could give an opportunity for Wildcard to get the
Ну, выглядит как неплохая для New Happy.
Как отвратительно Punich сыграл.
Smokes were dissipating, but they threw out a couple more fresh ones, so the cover should still be there to go for the revival.
Я не видел, что он сделал. Вышел широко слишком.
Он вышел челом в спину, отвратительно пострелял и нокнулся, сдох.
Ой, хорошо. Было бы, если бы не сдох сразу.
We are down to our final 4 teams remaining, though, all around the middle pack at the moment.
Yo-ho backing away from that fight on the west side because they need to get into the zone. They have a little bit of space that Belfrost has confirmed for them. It is
А Вард в ОПшках, да, сейчас?
Position in the circle. Wow,
Что-то я...
They're in a position to pick up a lot more with how much space they also have.
So why kick a move count? Last one alive for Wildcard still. Top 4, 6 kills. A successful game for them. Now has to take on Vard and Klib. He cannot get rid of Klib. And it is Wildcard out in 4.
На что расчет был?
Ну и трое ехало.
Group A, best group. Yo-ho right now. Belfrost trying to find the angles. New Happy are a little split attention-wise, understandably so. They have teams to the north as well as the southwest of them, and we still have 2 phases to go. So any of these teams.
Ну, на самом деле NLT неплохо настреляли в этой игре.
The problem is, like, New Happy probably have the singular best spot right now, not just being close to the circle, but with the amount of positions that they can play that has good cover for defensive measures.
I would still count on Bard and Klib, though.
Возможно, все-таки попробовать пройти куда-то под ОПшек было бы профитнее.
I think they both will understand that they have to go then and third party onto New Happy, which is more likely.
Не, мне кажется, под ОПшек, если бы они пошли, это была бы 100% смерть. Типа, они бы только первые выстрелы услышали New Happy, они бы сразу затриггерились, и там все, и дай.
Definitely collect what you can get right now. If you're Yo-ho, you have angles on a couple of different spots, a couple of different areas. It's Yo-ho's job to keep Overpeakers essentially pinned on down. Ming Ming might have an angle, Nan as well, but Yo-ho are going to have the best position right now to try and establish who is the healthiest of the squads.
New Happy also trying to collect there onto Overpeakers. Glib.
Ну, у New Happy сейчас самая невыгодная позиция на карте.
Да, нормальная позиция.
Ну, их душат...
Единственное, что если они нокнутся...
Да. Ну, тут ликвиды дай, хотя у них есть машины. Если они подъедут прямо под скалу, если у них получится. Это я сомневаюсь, что получится.
Three teams that were very successful in Group A, obviously. Everyone was successful from their respective groups.
Слушай, что, получится, что ли?
Same with Yahoo. All of the pressure is on the duo of Overpeakers to make a move, and they are doing so.
Да не, показалось.
Making their way over to Nan. Nan shuts it down there and says, no chance he getting up my hill. Clib is gone, so is Vard. Job done. Now we get to the final showdown. Yahoo and New Happy, 3 versus 3.
And already used the second Overpeakers went out. New Happy put a focus on the north side. Non even pushes up a little bit.
Неплохая лысая башка у Нама.
You could still find a nice little off angle from that spot, but both these squads can only really stay on the east side. I say that Non is actually going to be looping down
Это может быть ошибкой.
Maybe to try and find some gear off of the boxes from overpeakers. That does seem to be the case right now. But he also might be looking for a cheeky little off angle that could catch Yahoo.
Фига себе, еще и третий шлем урвал.
On that death body. So I think that's something that they would have liked to have got a bit more of.
Bit of damage on a Ming Ming. He's going to back away. Giving space to Yahoo, and they're going to be sending it in onto this rock, onto this position. Billfrost
Вот это хорошая.
on the backside. But that could just be a trap. They know exactly how to
Так
throw
что-то
these
не
grenades. They've done it
нанесла
over
ничего
peakers. They could be
вообще.
doing it again to Yahoo with sparking peaks.
Yeah, and he peaks successfully down onto Ming Ming. Nair taking some damage as well. Has to fire back with a bit of help from HS. They do get the knock onto Sparking. Shimboy will peek over, and he will sit down HS as well. 2 versus 1. Balefrost and Shimboy have the high ground advantage from here. Nair going for the revival.
Что, дадут поднять и сами подниматься будут?
Но они все равно из-под этого камня не выходят.
But they will trade revives. They will go for Sparking. So from a 2 versus 1, it will be a 3 versus 2.
Belfrost jumping to find that higher angle. Looking to confirm the knock onto HS, but more utility flying in, spotted in the air. They're going to back
Сейчас же
off.
загорится
But
там
Shimboy with
нафиг.
a nice flank around.
Shimboy's got to be successful.
Хорошо.
He is not Ming Ming.
Шинбой второй ног, да?
Knock onto Shimboy creates the 2 versus 2
Нет, первый,
environment here.
походу.
Now it's pretty dead even, and Nan going for a wrap down the bottom. Will Yahoo be expecting this though? While Ming Ming holds, Nan is going for the power move.
Хорош.
Что это?
Big time play, but Ming Ming gets the trade instantaneously, and he spots the head of Balefrost. What a fight that has eventuated here. Balefrost surely cannot go for the revive. He will stick it for as long as he possibly can. Sparking is watching like a sentry turret. He does
Но Минг зря так дает.
that Ming Ming was not pushing.
But now Ming Ming might be going for a revive on his own.
Да?
Billfrost not quite confident enough to peek, but he does have a flash at the ready.
He's got to hold it. He's committed maybe too long now.
Зря.
He has to probably get off of this one. Gets 1, can get 2.
Зря дал.
Gets the final kill from this game. It's Yahoo with a 7-kill win.
My heart was beating the whole time because it was a chess match of revives and rock, paper, scissors of baiting each other out. Do you hold a commit onto this or do you try and fake
Чувак, цепочку свою наружу. Нормально.
Whether he had the information or not, we're not quite sure, but that was still really, really well played from both teams. I think we really saw them both just giving absolutely everything that they had. Good utility usage, the revives.
Прикинь, какой обосранный сейчас Нан сидит.
A really big win though for Yahoo. Starting well, into starting strong. Yeah.
Ну, ошибся, бывает, че.
Я до сих пор не понимаю, как можно прыгать. Вот почему вы все прыгаете?
Ну, это...
Что мешает вставать на ту же кнопку, а не на пробел?
The Americans gets themselves a victory on the board. Yahoo with the win here. Plenty of points to boot. Taking out the leading world champions here in New Happy. Yahoo with a great victory to start things off, Toby.
And a great game for them overall coming into it as well. They ended in the end of things, they ended up.
Ну, это больше, знаешь, когда... Такой, блин, я не знаю, как это описать. У меня это, короче, на физическом уровне просто палец дергается, грубо говоря, мне так кажется.
У тебя просто мозг сообразить из-за количества кнопок в стрессе не успевает. И ты случайно нажимаешь. Но типа, я и говорю, в чем проблема вставать той же кнопкой, на которую ты садишься? Зачем вы встаете прыжком?
Ну, типа, я сажусь на Ctrl. Мне... Когда ты стреляешь, например, ты зажимаешь, ты мизинец держишь не на Ctrl, а на шифте. И тебе вставать удобнее, допустим, на пробел.
South to north rotation from so many teams in one game. The amount of open terrain you have to cross through leads to exactly
what we're seeing here. So many cluster fights in the open. I mean, I think we lost half the server. At least like 2 proper circles earlier than what you normally would.
It becomes a crazy situation in these kinds of... We've seen so many north circles, but this one in particular, as Toby's saying, so open.
I'm really happy for it's not being the usual high ground, same 2 kind of spots where we have the warehouse and the twin buildings. I hate those endings because it's so similar. Here at least we get a high ground and, you know, or the trenches. Obviously, OPGs had a hard time getting out of that, but still, they did get a good amount of kills. They did get a good amount of points from the game overall.
Very interesting final moments there between Yahoo as New Happy as well here. Kind of trading reses back and forth, but it will be Yahoo getting themselves the victory here. Game number 2 on Erangel goes to them. Brilliant stuff overall. And let's talk about these final moments as well, as they do get 17 points on the board.
5 teams in double digits.
The stalemate that they find themselves almost with the reses. I thought maybe Ming was going to be the deciding factor, but not to be.
Could have been. I mean, there were, I think the attempted push underneath, and then you get caught jumping in the open there from Nan.
Yeah.
Had they committed 2, maybe even the 3 they had at the time for an aggressive forward push, they still had flashes to work with as well. That could have been the play, but tried to be creative. Unfortunately, didn't really pay off.
The spot that they have just worked out so well. Like, it's high ground control with hard cover behind you, and it just worked out super well in terms of also getting the knocks. They ended up being in a 3 versus 2 situation that kind of, I feel like that is what won them the game. They had a man up, and it was just rough for New Happy, but Yahoo here and Shinboy popping off.
Very, very nice indeed here from them.
Что за уши у тебя сейчас? Рейзеры, Химмерхеды, В2.
Across the board, though, as you say, we had even as well Twisted Minds, Overpeakers also getting plenty of kills here, so they're going to be bumping up quite nice. It's very even so far. Nobody's really just dominating at the top of the two.
We have way too many stacked teams in one lobby. I mean, it's also one of those where if you miss a bullet, you can be damn sure that you're going to get traded in return. We saw it here as well. Every time a shot wasn't on point, they would.
Блин, сколько этим пацанам вообще?
Of course, out victorious in this one. I really love the particular play of them rotating back towards the east once they saw Wildcard kind of occupy.
Над фоткой Дипа нормально тебе? Как тебе фотка его? Стина вонючая, ты чё, ушел? Ой, чат, ладно, я тоже отойду тогда. Давайте ждем следующую игру, она будет уже скоро.
There are, as Toby says, there are too many good players in this lobby.
Yeah, and here the total leaderboard, of course, 70 game in top. But I want to say this still. Yeah. There's so much mechanical, individual skill on these teams. And as we're talking about, and as the players have said in some of the interviews even, you are literally going to lose if you don't hit your first few bullets because the other guys are so good. And also, the barrel versus M4 is super interesting because if you get it close enough, the barrel wins nearly almost every time.
All right, so important thing to know about this, once again, just to reiterate, top 8 after 10 matches goes to the grand final. So even if you're first, or regardless if you're first or 8th, you will be going to that grand final, which does create an interesting potential moment here, Toby.
Oh, for sure.
The fact that you've got, 17 doing well up to the top, but all you have to do is get top 8.
And that's the thing, right? Because we mentioned it again, with the amount of good teams in this lobby, what we're seeing right here, right now, could be turnaround just coming into the next game, was every single team in this lobby could pull off a 15+ kill win.
All right, well, it's time for a break, guys. Thank you very much. We're going to go to that, and when we return, we have one more Erangel coming your way here for PGC.
There's Day Gaming, the best team in the APAC. Let's go. Hi guys, hello. Hello. Well, where were you heading? What did you do? I just want to have a short interview with you guys and a little quiz time. Do you have time? Okay. Okay, let's go. Follow me. Welcome to Dubai, Day Gaming. Can you introduce yourself?
ชื่อเบลมอสครับจาก Daytrade Gaming ครับ ชื่อโนรินจากทีม Daytrade Gaming ครับ
Have you met other players from other teams or other regions so far?
ก็เจอแล้วครับมีทีมจีนแล้วก็ยุโรปแล้วก็อเมริกาครับเจอมาแล้วเวียดนามยุโรปก็คือว่าเจอเริ่มจะครบทุกโซนแล้วแต่ว่ายังไม่ครบทุกทีมครับ
You guys were not that good in last year but became so strong this year. How could you become so strong this year and how could you be so consistent toward this year?
ก็พวกเราเตรียมตัวมาทั้งปีครับปีนี้ก็มีความมั่นใจมากครับที่จะทำได้ดีกว่าเดิมในครั้งนี้ครับ
You guys might not be the first and second in the PCS stat leaderboard, still high, but your team is all about the teamwork.
ก็ด้วยความที่เราเล่นมานานเราเล่นมาประมาณ3 ปีเล่นด้วยกันครับแล้วก็เรารู้ว่าข้อผิดพลาดเราเป็นยังไงแล้วเราค่อยๆแก้ไขมาตลอดเลยครับก็ทำให้ประสบความสำเร็จใน PCS ด้วยครับก็คิดว่านูรินเป็นคนที่ไว้ใจได้ตลอดครับเชื่อใจได้ ก็เหมือนกันเลยครับคือเชื่อใจเพื่อนมาตลอดเลยครับว่าเพื่อนทำได้อยู่แล้ว
So this is your first time coming into PGC. How do you feel? It's going to be very much different from PCS.
ก็ตื่นเต้นเหมือนกันครับเป็นครั้งแรกของผมด้วยใน PGC หวังว่าจะทำให้ดีที่สุดครับในการแข่งขัน
Which team do you think is the biggest rival in PGC 2022 for Day Trade Gaming?
ก็คิดว่าเป็นแชมป์เก่าอย่าง New Happy เหมือนกันครับที่แข่งแกร่ง
Any words to New Happy?
See you.
Short and clear. What would be your determination entering into PGC 2022?
ก็พวกเรา Day Trade Gaming จะทำให้เต็มที่ที่สุดครับแล้วก็จะทำให้ดีที่สุดใน APAC ครับ
You can enter in freely, but when you want to go out of this rug, you have to get right with some quiz. We're gonna have a quiz time. So I'm gonna give you 4 keywords.
PGC.
Do you know which player this is?
Number 2.
Number 2. You're right.
Sound.
I'm gonna play the sound.
MK12.
Oh, easy? Was it easy? I want you guys to wear the eye mask.
Thank you.
It's gonna be a random gift. Nurin's first here.
อ๋อเขาให้เลือกเหรอเขาให้เลือก
Okay, this for Nurin and for Donat.
โอ้อันนี้เป็นตึกแน่เลยเขาให้เลือกอะไรก็ได้เหรอ
But only one.
เอาตึกดีกว่า
This? Okay. Take off your eye mask. Gold one.
I got go เฮ้ย
Oi.
นี่ไงอันนี้เป็น
Do you know what
Burj
this is?
Khalifa
Oh, Burj Khalifa, yes. What are you? Do you like it?
Yeah I'm so rich
You're so rich.
ชอบครับชอบก็รู้ว่าเป็นตึกก็เลยหยิบมาเพราะอันอื่นไม่รู้ว่าคืออะไรแล้ว
First one you picked was the gold one.
โอ้อ้าวทำไมไม่เห็นว่ามี2อันเลยอ่ะ
PGC 2022.
Day Trade Gaming Fighting
So 2 matches into the winners bracket now concluded. Of course, 8 still to go. A lot of time for the teams, Cameron, that have struggled through the first 2 matches, and largely a pretty even top 3 now, all around that sort of 20-point margin after 2 games played.
Yeah.
It does help probably everyone that the top 2 aren't necessarily already soaking up all of the points. Obviously, Cerberus struggling in that game, same with 17, opened the door for the likes of Yahoo.
Yeah, the problem is, though, is that we're looking at only 2 games, but within the context of there being only 2 games, it's seeing a gap develop between like 12th and 11th, 12th place. So the bottom 5 specifically really need to start having good games now. I mean, TMA has survived the Sovsnavka, whatever we want to call them, but BBL, KDF, as well as the other teams around them in that area of the leaderboard. Like their buffer is gone.
Yeah, those teams on Sovsnavka Island, they need to sort it out. They need to probably have a parlay, a truce, because they all need to start playing the game. I know it's only 2 games, but 2 games turns into 4, which is then halfway. It's only 10 games. You cannot be affording to start this slow for much longer. It's fine now, okay? 1, 2, maybe 4 or 5 points after 2 games, but you need to pick up the pace considering the talent that is in this lobby. We head back in for match number 3. Erangel once again off the back of a Yahoo victory. Game 3 underway.
Last Erangel of the day, we get a bit of a different plane path towards the west, a little more south-southwest focused, so I would be surprised if we saw another repeat Circle 1 that we've seen essentially 2 in a row. However, this means that we could go down to military base, and there's only 2 teams down there now. Wildcard have returned to Novo, TMA are down there, KDF have bailed, BBL have bailed. Where are KDF gonna go? Are they going all the way to Zarki or just North George? Dropping out this late, I have to think Zarki.
Продолжаем чатик. Это у них музыка фигачит, да? Блин, я так кушать захотел. Чат, вы не будете не против, если я выключу вебку и покушаю? Да? Это что-то я проголодался. Какой Матумба? Матумба это в доте, братан. Какой нахрен Матумба, Демидов? Матумба это чувак из Ликвидов, который играет в доту. Причем тут пабг? А Псина тут? Псина? Собака? Шавка вонючая. Вот так вот. Российские команды есть. Question mark. Ну как? Типа в Нави почти весь состав из России. В Question Mark почти весь состав из России. То есть в Question Mark'ах есть 1 казах. В Нави есть 1 грузин. Ну, он не грузин, он из Грузии просто. В Virtus.pro, который сейчас по тегам Твиз, или Твайс, не знаю, Твиз, наверное, в них есть 1 украинец. Что значит российская команда? Диман, братан, я думаю, что не стоит тебе учить меня русскому языку, если ты, ну, не рофлишь. Если ты мне серьезно делаешь замечания, братан.
Easily just bomb in onto a singular isolated individual, but as long as you're aware and prepared for that, you can have a couple of nice options.
Overpeak is on our screens at the moment, 11 points through the first 2 matches, not too bad, not too shabby, 9th place currently, but
блин, пацаны лутаются, как классно. Видишь, я старый, просто рофлы до меня туго доходят, понимаешь? Ой, лучше бы в шашки поиграл. Ты чепуха вообще, где ты сидишь нахрен? Почему я с тобой общаюсь, а тебя нету?
Ты общайся, общайся.
Чат, вы не против, если я поем? Я не... Короче, никто не против. Пошел я...
против, брат.
Пошел в жопу. Пошел заказ сделаю для Марии Викторовны и покушаю.
Сам приготовь.
they have been playing a little more defensively, a little more conservatively, and you can chalk that up to where
Всё, заказ сделан.
the timings of their rotations and running into teams that were there ahead of them. I'm not saying that overpeakers are necessarily intentionally playing into the conservative play style, but yeah, I do agree with what you're leaning towards of actively look to go aggressive, take some early fights.
Obviously, they had that early in compound, so couldn't really do a whole lot from that in the last game, but still were able to push out, try and be somewhat aggressive where they could be without probably being over-aggressive. Obviously, for the Freaks, they're going to have to be up in Zaki. They'll have to rotate from the north side, pushing down into the south end of Erangel. Rather central circle, though, it means they don't have to go too far on their rotation. A team that basically snuck into Group A, I'm going to be honest, in terms of the top 8.
Жаркие.
Not in the top 8 for very long. It was all
Ох.
day 3. Yeah. And they did not have as many
Против Герон, давай это. Давай, Герон, успокойся. Один в поле не воин, понимаешь?
В смысле один?
Ты не считаешься, ты пес.
Черт вообще. Черти не едят.
Сказал пес, что черти не едят или что? Я не понял. Так, у нас Нави полутали дропчик, а Джимс крысит сидит. Но он, если даже нокнет, он не доест. А вот это вот... Погорячился он. Что я буду кушать? Что Маша даст, то я буду кушать. Нави 9 поинтов за 2 игры. Так, ну тут самое главное залететь в топ-8. Тут типа тоже можно не напрягаться, но в топ-8 за... А, кстати, КМы за 2 игры 0 поинтов. Как ты думаешь, BBL в этой игре хорошо сыграют?
Похуй, плюс похуй.
Блин, как интересно вообще. Такой собеседник классный. Заинтересованность великолепная просто. Ты же играешь в эту игру так много лет. Почему ты так отстранен, я не понял. Почему ты не заинтересован?
Ты действительно хочешь услышать?
Конечно.
Ты будешь снова говорить, что к разрабам как-то не так отношусь.
Но, тем не менее, ты играешь в эту игру, и сейчас смотришь турнир по этой игре.
Да я бы лучше в шашки, если честно, сейчас играл.
Ой. Вот такое отношение уже у людей к пабгу, понимаете, да? Пабг уже...
Я бы ни разу эту вкладку даже нахуй не открыл, если бы не было Нави, КМ и ВП.
Что-то на зоне заказала, там целый мешок нахрен привезли, там уже считает ссылки, там уже 12-15. Чё? Так, мешок достал. Чё она там заказала?
Phase number 1, it's, you know, what's a little bit of less space.
And phase number 1 with this kind of circle as well, right? It's not a ridiculous phase 1 circle with 50% water or something like that. You've got a dead center phase 1 circle, Erangel. There's a lot of space, a lot of buildings, a lot of compounds, a lot of places you can try and play for. You don't have to get too aggressive, too crazy. Phil first, question mark, no points for them. The only team after the 2 matches played now heading into match 3 that still have not been able to pick up a point.
TMA rolling up. Find a spot. They know QM's shooting at them. Looking to see if they can't find an angle of their own. Cerberus now coming in from the west.
Я выяснил, пацаны, это все для мелкого, блин, ё-моё. Теперь я не главный ребенок в семье теперь. Какая боль. Какая боль.
All too much, and so they're pushing forward, and in return,
Да всякую детскую херню, там, типа, детские шампуни, детские порошки, там, вот это вот. Сейчас еще коляску надо купить. Кроватку надо купить. Сидушку надо купить. Одежду надо купить. При этом ты одежду чуть ли не одноразово покупаешь. Они типа растут слишком быстро. Это такое, ну... Да. Коляска там 40-50 тысяч. Кайф, вообще просто. Сочно. А мог себе комп новый собрать. Там, кстати, 13 900 уже, да, продают?
And it does not quite center up down towards the south. A lot of that water still in play as well. The cliffs in play, and suddenly positions like Farm and Pachinki Fields, it looks quite strong. Snake Way as well, and even Day Trade are pretty happy to just go down to the compound at the cliffs. Wildcards just sort of north on the other side of that. A lot of teams up north now have to push down as well, so the entire lobby is just going to sort of drip feed down to the south.
But for Wildcard and Day Trade, how much space are you willing to give up? Because you know it's going to pull away from water anyway. So Wildcard, they're going to stay put. And Snake Compound, Navi, as we see, just rotating.
Давай устроим сборы доната для мелкого.
Right now, Batulan knows that Tyloo have rotated into a package compound, package area. He's getting ready to pounce if CC 108 maybe stays a little bit too long. He's going to start firing. That's the sign that Batulan was waiting for, but no.
Что это за комментатор? Опа.
Danger that they're in right now.
Да куда? Просто столько времени тут провел и просто, ну, вот зря. Если сейчас еще его выбьют.
So Navi have elected to give up Potato Hill entirely to the overpeakers. They've swarmed, they've taken it. Navi have pushed down into Snake. Along with a lot of teams as well. I mean, a lot of real estate in that position. Navi, Danoa, Yahoo, Wildcard, all in and around that area. Center-ish here for phase 2.
Danoa still trying to figure out where they want to hold on to. See a couple of teams around their area getting ever closer to their spot. This is dead center of the zone right now, but I'm a little worried when any team tries to hold that location, hold that spot. It is very, very open. In terms of cover, it's even a little bit on the lower ground, but Danawa are going to be one of the teams that needs to start to look for something. 10th place, not the worst, but they're going to need to try and climb higher, especially on this round. KDF rotating in, just past school, free space. They find it open, and for a team that's coming in with such low priority in terms of rotation,
главное на коляске не экономь.
Stop here for now.
Да вроде не собирался.
Try to get some information up that hill as much as you can.
You know you're coming in late, you get those positions, especially considering you've come from Zaki.
О, чувак что, перезаходит или что?
Не знаю, приехал в столовку.
И там зона как бы.
Наверное.
До родины. Опа! Это что за покемон?
While trying to get a little bit more space and push straight into Twisted Minds. Perfectix has played this well, Ian though being able to try and force him back, and a card too lands a tag onto Perfectix, who is by himself at the moment, cannot afford to get knocked. Batulin's in the minimap driving by close.
Что-то надо NLT быстрее, либо на подмогу, либо текать пацану отсюда.
From Lou, Nade falls short of Hikari. Again, like Twisted Minds don't want to overcommit onto this because in a matter of
Я просто сэкономил, теперь у меня две коляски. Опа. Так. Оп. Ну все, чат, я теперь кушаю. Приятного мне аппетита.
Yeah, I mean, there's just way too many compounds to hold there with the split that they had. Lulu always gets a elimination onto Lambu, who was rotating past. Hallen, Salute, Soul. How many times are they a duo or trio tapped once again for Danoa? They do find a position in the bowl though here in the PGC fields, and PGC is going to be a center factor here in this game.
GMA now. Small singular location, but they're protecting their vehicles. That's the important thing. Even though it's going to be a little difficult to get that out, but you know, you like to be
Вам
able to have
показать
the
вкусняшку? Мария Викторовна не просит показать, что ты мне дала.
Neighbors with Danoa, but not in a position to fight each other.
А?
They don't want to waste the grenades by just trying to go dynamite fishing at the moment anyway.
Так, вы что душите-то?
If the storm continues to center up later into the game.
Вот вам оно надо? Это даже не фокусится. Это курица. Это тушеная капуста. Ну, это понятно, огурцы, да? Все?
That elimination onto Lambo, by the way. Our only death so far this game for match 3. A stark difference to what we had in match 1 and match 2, respectively.
Планирую, когда подойдет время, купить хорошую коляску на Авито. Это какой-то намек, Дина, или я не понял?
Building. It's a lot more of a white tie affair, a lot more polite, high society. But like most high society, we all know that it's all a facade, and these people are gnawing at the bit to try and take some shots at each other. New Happy rotating up. Unsure of their information they have on overpeakers, but of course.
На тарелке ничего не нарисовано, тарелка просто белая.
That they are right there past them on the other end of the zone, so they might put a little bit of extra emphasis on stopping the backfill.
Oh, clear.
Oh boy, yes, but this is where the trap is lying.
So overpeakers do have the intel that New Happy.
Ну, кстати, мне кажется, купить хорошую коляску на Авито не ошибка.
Probably to his right. He is playing off of these auditory cues really nicely.
Как думаешь, либо кто-то разминирует?
Ну, я думаю, от одного нокнет и все.
And then Yahoo has now been spotted by Ming and Co for New Happy, so they'll be watching that rotation to make sure that they don't try to push in on the backside of Potato Hill. Yahoo have to also get all the way past the Guangdong Freaks after New Happy. This is going to be a very, very dangerous rotation. In fact, so much so, it looks like they're just going to go straight into a card and Hikari.
Might as well. Gotta take the fight. You can't be sitting on the blue for too long. Can't be taking shots from other teams for too long because you know they're just gonna start to hit you, tag you more and more.
Отлично.
He gets one down.
Hitting anymore, well, almost so. A wonderful effort, and here comes the push from Overpeakers. Clib from behind the rock throws out the nade. He's getting pushed though. It was a little.
Нави поехали подсасываться, ты смотри. Или они поехали в починки?
Clib will get punished, take it out, gone. So there's a
Не
free
знаю,
kill there
может,
for
в
New
яму
Happy.
куда-нибудь
But
поедет.
this position no longer valuable with that southern circle shift for phase 4, away from Pachinki, away from the fields as well. And again, that drop feed has now turned into a fountain down south. Everyone just has to rotate. Zhao Yang gets eliminated by Zhao Hai and Crazy combining.
Ну, кстати, Нави встали не очень хорошо, потому что сверху их прям... Я не знаю, они, наверное, подчекать просто встали, надеюсь.
Later, they're still having to hide themselves because they're getting shot at by BBL. A little bit of a high ground from 17 as well. Twisted Minds making a follow-up rotation. Gonna stop.
Мы, например, присмотрели столик детский, на котором меняется полностью все, грубо говоря, только каркас остается, и его можно купить на Авито тоже, а типа все остальное новое можно заказать отдельно. Не знаю, насколько это будет целесообразно. Там типа темные чехлы, и они отдельно продаются.
Это ваханалия все едут куда-то, что-то происходит.
Ну, КДФы тут рассыпались однозначно. Донава задефала свою яму, которая их и похоронит потом. А Нави где сыпется?
Нави в лесу под картошкой делают.
Ну да, я же говорю, они плохо встали.
They get eliminated to Na'Vi. Got a couple of kills on overpeakers, but didn't survive too much longer themselves.
Yeah, Shimboy was the one that actually got that final elimination there onto New Happy. So 18 points from 3 games for them on the precipice. 6 points a game. They'll be okay with that one. Howland, salute again. How is it always these two alive for Danoa? Well, actually, no, it's actually Sol this time. So Howland's got a new partner in crime. Show pushing close. Lulu always from behind, though. Unfortunately for Howland, he can do as good as he wants against 17, but he's got nades raining in and around him.
Вот и Донавы рассыпались. Я не понял, 17 гейминг просто из амбаров вышли и уничтожили Донаву? А, Нави разрезаются?
Нави все разрезались.
А New Happy что, посыпались? А, New Happy рассыпались, ясно.
Something, but that was a headshot from I don't know where, but now driving through Twisted Minds territory. They weren't there with that first initial rotation by a squad. They're surely here now.
That's a wonderful shot from Flash with the mini. 6 times, yes, but still that distance. Not an easy shot. And that
мне вообще
from Twisted Minds has been
предложили коляску за 100 тысяч. Я говорю, вы что, сдурели нахер?
And continuing to run out of positions of safety now. No more real compounds really left inside of this circle. Not a lot at least.
Сейчас бы за 100 тысяч коляску покупать.
The big question is, can Twisted Minds hold on to that area, hold on to that territory? I have a really bad feeling that they're going to get overrun. But Daytrade, they're a similar position. I love their spread. But Cerberus and QM coming into the location. Tycon with
Слушай, QM что-то вообще.
down 3 kills from himself, 4 for his team, but they need to continue to push towards the east into Daytrade territory. And Norin's
Типа прям вообще.
They will punish Tycon for just lingering out.
Такое ощущение, что они не вывозят это лобби, я не знаю.
On 0 points down towards the bottom, and is shaping up to be a difficult winners bracket for them. So with Tycon eliminated those, Cerberus at least 4 kills, but 2 players still alive, that they can sort of try and find a position of safety inside of this next circle and try their best for some placement points. But they will have BBL behind them, and they will have Daytrade in front of them.
Я не знаю, что там мне есть за 100к, но... Кто-то же покупает кофточки за 60 тысяч. На какой-то хер. У них тоже ничего нет.
Of Uber. Example will finish off Wakikamuka. The utility usage from Na'Vi is on point.
Тележку из ленты переоборудовать. Ну, кстати, дешево и сердито. Правда, ну, проходимость плохая.
But it's only Greg shot remaining, forced to back away, forced to fall away, and there's not a lot of space.
Ну и так еще и вейл-кардов оприходовали.
Как Нави там выжили, я не понимаю. Там, походу, очень вовремя New Happy закрыли.
Но они закрыли New Happy и один всех разрезал.
А, Нави сами закрыли New Happy?
Что, да.
Там вроде они в пул диспозиции.
Ну там кто-то помог один вроде.
I think it's going to be one of these two, surely. TMA and 17. They are going toe to toe, and those nades are now going back and forth. Shanghai, the closest, along with Show. They will be running out of these nades, though, surely, and then you have to just stand up and run and just take the gunfight. Himas actually will go down, so it's Cerberus in 9th. They will avoid the placement points.
It's going to come out. Good knock, but a good trade by Shalvd. Low goes there. That's who's at the ready. That's going to be deal heavy damage in these trenches. 17 tried to loop.
Очень большую часть зоны контролирует Нави на самом деле. Но дальше им двигаться тоже не очень комфортно будет. Хотя сейчас они даже пешком играть могут, кстати.
Ну там поле, там более-менее ровное такое пространство.
Ну там, по-моему, там склон, по-моему, где...
Это что за баги?
А, то, что не горит? Ну это как пацаны в будке не горели.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can. You can't play for that intel. The intel has said that that has been mollied. Yapi's position should be well and truly unknown. He will now make his presence known. He peeks out, doesn't get seen. Daytrade looking to finish off BBL, a wounded BBL. Smash will throw out a last-ditch nade. Yapi does not survive much longer. Lil Ghost will get rid of him. 6 kills for 17 Gaming. They are starting to make light work of the winners bracket, up into first on 31 points.
They haven't killed Smash, but Daytrade is still backing away because they know that they need to worry about
в
getting
идеале,
into the zone themselves. In the blink of an eye, Unit have full control there of the zone, but 17 there. They're going to continue to push in. Lil Ghost with the Groza goes absolutely insane onto Yoho, and now Na'Vi are pushing into United territory. Rella with the rock. forced to fall away a little bit, doesn't want to be caught off guard by the push by Navi.
Нави тут идеально разыграют сейчас. Начало просто очень хорошее. No, нахер.
Oh, the grenades! Oh, that one's even better. That one's gonna do it. It confirms the kill, gets a second knock. That is absolutely crucial for Navi to try and stay alive here. That means that it's only the Western duo of the
Wally, там еще и Авик.
And that's really a 2-2 split that has been punished. Flood, Kickstart. They wanted to play.
Видишь, тут спокойно можно по ЛГ играть.
Out west, like you said, they were not in a position
Но это юшники пустили. Если бы они встали и не пустили.
Они не могут не пускать. Их там спина еще контролит.
Они могут все тянуться, закрыть Нави, а потом играть тут же. Где сейчас Нави? Только они вот сейчас тут стоят. Они
мне кажется, что там и на ультику увидели их бы.
Они же вдвоем стояли, закрывали Нави, правда, не справились вдвоем.
Ну, чё, легчайшее для Нави?
The smoke grenade. Okay, that has to be what it is. The smoke grenade landing from his teammate frightened him, made him pull off the hold.
And they have full West control.
NLT fighted this day.
We'll see if that ends up punishing them.
Идеально для Нави.
Just slightly. Navi could rotate down there on the south side. We saw the angles that United was attempting to hold, and it's a good hold if you can make it work. And with only 3 teams up, Navi look very, very poised to do that. However, if they know that Twisted Minds is there on the north, we know how aggressive Navi like to go. They could just say, positioning, we don't care, we want the kills.
Could you imagine a world where United qualify over Daytrade by 1 point? That would be the set point. It probably won't come down to that, but maybe something to remember in the back of the mind. Well, they still have a good position in dealing with Twisted Minds, but Twisted Minds are 4 up to the good. Patulin's still out back. He is just holding behind, so it's 3 and 1 behind. Lou will get the opening kill. What a transfer as well to hit the headshot immediately onto Neurons. Brings him to half health. He can't really continue to just fight back, keep that pressure on. The Molotov to finish up Pooch Shields. Flash has to push up here, but yeah, again, Daytrade just don't have the numbers. They're going from 4 to 2. This has really opened the door for a Twisted Minds Navi showdown in match 3 of the winners bracket.
Navi are taking the southern space, the southern territory because of that circle going in that
Вообще
direction.
очень выглядит как очень сложно проебать для Нави.
Whoever survives from this fight, they can also even throw utility of their own, assuming they have any left. They've been into a lot of different fights. So
так, я что-то пропустил?
Ну да и пошли встречать НЛТ, и Нави подъехали к ним под горку.
А НЛТ-то смотри, что делает.
Это толку, да, они все равно там дальше никуда не играют.
Navi are sort of deathballing here, grouped up as 4 in the center. They're not playing for space. They're not controlling the circle. That might just allow an entry point for Twisted Minds.
The fight has slowed down.
Туда-сюда пробежали и решили вернуться, или что?
Where is everyone going? What is happening? But we can also see behind us, so it's very limited space that these guys can go. Twisted Minds, in fact, turn around, partly because they recognize where Navi are, and it's going to be a hard run whichever direction they want to go. And so instead, it would be the correct choice to go into the lesser numbers of Daytrade.
Okay, this is interesting though, but Twisted Minds, despite what they were doing, have now pushed back over to Daytrade, making noise. This will mean that Navi will have all the information needed to then push on this third party, get the win. So I thought maybe Twisted Minds would give up this play, go for the win, try and get a position in and behind Navi, but instead they've elected to go back to the duo of Daytrade. They may sense a chance to be able to confirm second with 2 kills, rather than take a questionable fight with Navi, who have obviously got center position, obviously have circle prior.
Oi,
now they're nading Navi. What is going on here from Twisted Minds? Make up your mind. Example, Analia will punish the Perfectix gets 1 as he's pushing on to Daytrade.
Ну все просто для Нави. Все для Нави просто. Они знают, что там ног. Ой. Вот эта хае хорошая летит. Бум! Да какого хера, блин?
Questionable for Twisted Minds at the end there.
Бум! Хороший молик, вроде сжег.
Make it a 2 versus, well, 3 at this point because of follow-up or revive has already happened on the side of Na'Vi. Norin's out in the open. The timing is just never there for him. He goes down to Na'Vi. Na'Vi get win.
Хорошая, кстати, для Нави игра. Да.
They took that fight to E United and they were really successful, really quick in dealing with that 2-2 split, punishing them, going for the space. E United get caught. Na'Vi as 4 were able to just group up, deathball their way into the circle. They take center position and they benefit from some questionable plays from Twisted Minds.
But we're still not seeing repeat top placements, repeat top kill numbers across this entire lobby. It is so wide open for a number of these different teams. E United, I think, has been in the top 4 all 3 times, but they've been lower on the kill count. So there hasn't yet been 1 or 2 teams still to run away with this lobby.
Maybe 17. If I was to put anyone in that bracket that you're talking about, I would probably have 17 still in that bracket.
Так, ну ладно, чатик, ждем следующую игру, она будет... Ой, слушайте, а это не самый большой перерыв сейчас будет? Возможно, сейчас будет большой перерыв, но я не уверен. Не разбегаемся далеко. Таймер покажет.
After all was said and done, towards the end, a big 3-way here for these teams to try and compete with one another on the hill. Let's take a look at the highlights as we have Na'Vi with the victory. Toby.
A huge game for Na'Vi and a really interesting game overall. Dynamic pacing of this one completely changed from the first 2 here. It was pretty sick that we only see the first 3 kills come through at 17 minutes.
Yes. It is such a competitive lobby, and you can see how good they are at rotations and figuring out how to play, where to play. The Twisted Minds push into that spot, the Maple Leaf High Ground, the Chinky Hill, whatever you want to call it. So well played by them to scout it, to get in there in a good spot. But Na'Vi, the way they cleared up and the way they played this well was just insane. Also 17 Gaming coming out of course, home turf's circle, but still fantastic game for them.
The thing is for Na'Vi, this is what they do best, right? Yeah. Playing the edge, coming in on teams the way they are doing here, coming towards where you see E United. And Na'Vi, yeah, they'll take knocks here and there, but they're willing to take those trades and willing to play the edge well.
The thing is how calm they can keep themselves in hectic situations. They claim Potato Hill early on. They then have overpeakers pulling up. They say, that's not really a threat. We'll just take a step back. Yeah. All of a sudden, New Heavy up there as well. We have Cerberus. We have Yahoo pushing in from behind. Then they start fragging out. They know, like, early on, they've already calculated where all these teams are coming in from. Then they set up their base, and they just start butchering.
And to the point that you were making, Martin, about this as we watch Na'Vi get the victory and start things off, is as much as we are seeing so many of these situations where, yes, endgame scenarios are slowing down and Na'Vi gets themselves the win here on Erangel, so many of these fights in the mid-game to later mid-game are over in the flick of a switch. They're so fastly executed.
They're so well calculated. They know exactly when to strike, right? So they're trying to get a fast wipe to make sure they don't get third-party. They're taking these fights at the fastest time possible to make sure they get themselves into a better spot and then take over whatever their enemies were and also get all their utility. 24 points though here for Na'Vi to put themselves into a spot where they're almost halfway to the grand final.
As the boys said on the desk, on the casting desk as well, another 12 points for 17 Gaming, who, I mean, at this point, it's all but a show. It's
a show.
It's a show. They are putting on a show, man. With them getting this many points across these games and again still having that central position, they're looking phenomenal.
They would have to really do something extremely wrong in order to not finish on top 8.
No, they're making top 8. There's no way at this point.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, James's captain is popping off. Example. He almost got flushed though.
He did. Well, it was close. It was close. I mean, there were multiple times where example
that would
did
have
get
been 10 points less. But yeah, he survived the Na'Vi in a 24-pointer.
Example, ever present, ever extremely potent and dangerous, will be able to get himself the top spot. But yeah, across the board, I think the cool thing about this roster for Na'Vi is that everybody's contributing big. I mean, even Melman might not have in this game in particular, but very, very powerful as well.
I mean, we heard the interview with Example just before as well. What did you guys do different from the terrible, to be honest, PCS 7 performance? What did you do coming into this? We didn't have to do much. We have an amazing coaching staff that did the majority of the workforce. We just have to focus on playing the game.
I didn't quite focus on them just yet, but I do want to. Daytrade, Flash, and Nurin's really putting in a lot of work this game.
The classic 1-2 punch coming in from Daytrade. I gotta say this though, once we have these circles here,
the compounds, the 4-pack and the double bond compound that United eventually came out of, and Day Trade came in and swung in and got the Western control. The way that they played that was so well executed.
But off of that, to counter it, how often do we see that team with the 4-stack compound down below getting too comfortable in those buildings and then in the end being kept contained inside? DA knew exactly when to send 2 up the hillside to try and make sure no one from Cerberus could wrap around the side, and that's why they are victorious.
Here's the overalls. 17 Gaming will set up at the top. Navi bumps up quite nicely. Cerberus finds themselves still in the top 3 here. And the top 8, even the Twisted Minds, you know, gets themselves far in this game. Not too many kills on their side, Martin, so they don't quite push themselves all the way.
A little bit less kills, of course, still getting some point there. It's the consistency that matters, but still, from Cerberus on 25 and all the way down to Wildcard on 15, it's just one good game that will put you far into the top 8 still.
Yeah, I think I said it about 6 times that game, Toby, but Little Ghost is a gamer.
I mean, when you're the team playing out of the trenches, trying to make your way out, and there's 3-4 teams with Navi as well, sitting up on the hillside, the fact that it not only got out initially, but finds 3 kills before going down, that should never be possible.
I think one thing to look at this as well, whilst we're 3 games in, is the kills especially. Because if you look at the placement points overall, from 1st down to 6th, it is unbelievably even.
It is.
But it's going to be the kill difference that's going to matter here.
Usually we see 65 to 70% of the points coming from kills, and the teams are aware. They're going to be focusing on that. I want to quickly look on the right side of the board, though.
Sure.
A little bit surprised to see both New Happy, potentially OPGs down there at the moment. So hoping to see them to kind of jump into now that we go to Miramar.
It's a good job that Example's doing so well, because for me, I have Tai Lu and Kwangdong Freaks, and they're not doing too well as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Time to head over to Miramar now with the casters.
7 matches remaining here for the winners bracket. We head to Miramar for match number 4 here for day 1 of the winners bracket, and it's already shaping up to be a very difficult top 8 to maybe break into. Cameron, we were talking about Menu sort of off there, just there, the bottom 4 already just lagging behind a little bit. That's then just sort of 4 more teams that are still obviously largely in contention. So that means that if you are in that bottom 4, if you're around that bottom 4, bottom 5 position, you really need to get something from these last 2 games of the day here on Miramar.
Yeah, and we've seen that map swap be helpful to teams in the past. If they're struggling, it gives them an opportunity to reset themselves, because it is literally a different game, or at least a different game state with the terrain that you're playing on and then the drops and all that good stuff. This opening plane path onto Miramar, a bit southeast heavy, and so if you are a team, look at who's the worst off here. TMA is all right. Day Trade, they're not too great off of this, so it doesn't really affect anyone too negatively, especially the ones that are going to have a huge run. Actually, I lied. QM.
What would you lie?
Not looking great. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Also, wait, TMA, that's not where they told us they were dropping. Anyway, bot drop at the ready. Danawa, BBL.
Yeah, and BBL, of course, in the bottom 4, they need points. They need to win this fight. Danawa a little bit better, at least on 13 points. Not quite as desperate for them. Beryl already in hand for Salute, though. That's a nice bit of weaponry. Same for Kurt Marco. Oh, he's gone with the loot. That's bad timing. So unfortunate for Salute. It was so valuable in these fights. Kurt Marco and Smash, though, both with some big shots. And that's 2 massive downs, at least there from BBL. Struggling on Erangel, struggling in these kind of fights early on down on Sosnovka Island. And yeah, very successful early here. Shotgun in hand for Hallen, but they've both lost Lambu and Salute.
Oh man, Lambu actually gets confirmed by his own teammates Molotov. Maybe they figured that there was no way they were reviving him anyway, but Smash Jack grenade at the ready. Doesn't, oh, it actually didn't land inside the building, it looks like. Or the room, rather. Hallen is just begging for them to push. Shotgun at the ready, has to reload. But it swings around from multiple angles, multiple sides. Soul with UMP on the outside is the one that's needed to work to save Hallen.
Oh, just shut the door on him there. Oh, timing again. Oh, I'm not going to lie. Some of the timing here for BBL has been perfect. 4 kills, 4 early kills, 3 of them to Smash. That is exactly what you need to kickstart your campaign here in the winner's bracket.
Yeah.
Only 7 points gained on all of Erangel. They get 4 immediately here on Miramar. Mexi will get an initial knock on to Sia. We'll confirm it very quickly as well with the 2 times Beryl. That'll be a nice start there for Overpeakers, who, you know, somewhat similar to BBL, didn't have the best of time on Erangel and also start well here.
So judging off of the map, that's based off of what the teams have essentially communicated with them, with each other, Overpeakers are not supposed to be where they currently are fighting against Tai Lu. That's because TMA were supposed to go to Monte Nuevo, or at least they claim they're going to be going to Monte Nuevo, but then they moved to a different location, and that's sort of given a bit of a domino effect that has now punished Ty Lu. There's a replay here of the end of the previous match that Navi were able to come out on top of.
I think really just giving a wonderful example there as to the split minds maybe of Twisted Minds in the end. No pun intended.
It's in the name. It's in the name.
Yeah. You had one pushing onto Daytrade, one running at Na'Vi, two holding back. It was an intriguing push, and obviously Daytrade did benefit a little bit from that. Couple kills, then you get second place.
I have to imagine that Twisted Minds swung to the east and back to the west, that whole different maneuver, because they were just looking and hoping that Na'Vi would reveal something to them, give them the opportunity. They felt trapped in onto the north side, Twisted Minds perhaps, and they wanted to try maybe take a little bit of a gamble instead of just steamrolling over into a bunkered in Daytrade, but back onto the Miramar round. Jiang is trying to get revenge onto his fallen teammate. Grenade at the ready, but James is, oh no, it's not even James, it's Varb from this off angle, from the side angle. That's a second knock, and a second confirm.
Yeah, Tyler's not going to be happy with this either. They'll feel like their territory has been encroached upon. They've only got the 4 points from what is now 4 matches as well. Averaging 1 point a game is not going to get you into the grand finals.
Not through the winner's bracket, at
Not
least.
through the winner's bracket. They'll have to, I think at this rate, think about their path coming through losers bracket 2. Still some games still to play. A couple of big games is all it really takes to get you back into that top 8 conversation if you are KDF, Tyloo, QM, at least now on our screens, who obviously it's still pointless. They have got nothing to show for the first 3 matches on Erangel. Maybe Miramar is where they can turn it around.
Hopefully, but they are looting there on the south coast of Miramar, and as we saw for Circle 1, it wasn't as far north as the first 2 of Erangel were, but it is still really far, especially when you consider the plane path being south heavy. So they're, once again, going to have to go through a pretty far rotation. You can just tell that their current movement up towards the north is a little unsure, unsteady. They don't exactly know where New Happy or Wildcard those teams in that immediate region.
And the rough calculations for QM is plain and simple. If they get nothing from this game, it means they will have to average 10 points a game here on out. I mean, that is top of the standings kind of numbers that we're seeing only from 17 and Na'Vi. That's the kind of form that QM would have to show out of basically nowhere if they can't get some points from this game and build from this. This is, in my mind, not last game, not last effort. You can have those really big games that come out of nowhere, but in terms of some consistent points and some consistent games, it has to start now for them, for Tyloo, and for KDF.
Rotating up, TMA. Pushing in towards the north. They're not going directly into the zone. They're going a little bit on the wide eastern map, perhaps trying to come in from the north side. They should be aware that it's going to be a relatively empty north, again, because of the relationship between the zone and the plane path. 17 Gaming, though, they are always looking for a fight. They've been winning them so confidently. Spartan caught out the open. Goes back to his vehicle, but tires are immediately punished, immediately removed, and so this is going to be a very interesting situation to try and, oh, well, never mind, not even happening at all. United hears the shots, they wonder, wait, what's that? What's happening over the corner? What's happening over that ridge line? Now they pick up a kill of their own.
Still going for more. Sparking is inside of that smoke, but Kickstart close will not really be able to allow Shimboy to make that run across. Shimboy pretty fortunate to be alive there. Kickstart had a really good angle, and if that had been day 1 of Group B, I think Shimboy's dead. That's the way that Kickstart was really starting.
Yeah. To be fair, that's, yeah. I was a little confused on what you meant at first, but no, yeah, absolutely. He definitely, I got there in the end.
Матч номер 4 начался, а я отсутствую, да? Стример не на месте, а уже Донава сдохли. Понимаю, блин. Уже, блин, сколько? 3 минуты где-то я провафлил, да? Понятно. Так, а Скуби-то тут? Нет, вы проверяли? Перекличка была? Гавкал кто-то, нет, чат? Походу, Скуби тоже отсутствует. А, Смэш Донаву там почикал. BBL закрыли полностью Донаву. Молодцы. Слушайте, они сыграли 3 игры отвратительно. Здесь хотя бы что-то сделал. Мяукал кто-то?
it's about getting into the position to take
До меня никто, да, не гавкал? Ага, понял, понял. Это грубовато было, конечно.
Certainly not. So 2 more minutes until phase 2. Miramar, of course, starting out somewhat slow.
Так, ну чё, завтра у нас God of War чат. Вопрос в том, смогу я купить польскую версию игры, или мы будем играть в турецкую версию игры? Вот в чем вопрос. Типа, в польской есть русский язык, в турецкой только субтитры.
What's interesting though, 17 gaming, 25 and a half minutes well out in front. United somewhat close, considering of course they didn't find any wins either.
That's a big drop between 4th and 5th, I just realized. It's an entire minute of average survival time.
God of War, Ragnarok. Отлично, хочу поиграть уже. Единственное, только очень хочу русский перевод. Я готов потратить даже там 5000 рублей, чтобы русская озвучка у меня была, наверное. Хотя не очень-то хотелось бы деньги тратить. Но мне кажется, с русской озвучкой вообще игры воспринимаются куда приятнее, вот такие особенно.
Huddled around the south end of the circle and around Picardo's side, but the north side is very open for teams that do want to go for a long wrap. They can go up north, they can then push in from the north down to the south, even really sort of go for a thread the needle play, even as far as close to probably San Martin. 30 seconds till phase 2.
Teams still rotating in, still pushing in. We see United run away from an approaching Tai Lu.
Wildcard is making said wrap.
Алло, шо тут? Шо тут? А где ты вообще шманаешься, чепа?
Так чё, не игры же смотреть?
Прок. Сейчас Аля может сдохнуть. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой. Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой-ой.
GMA and Wildcard gonna also be good beneficiaries of this shit because they both made that northern swing that we've been talking about for the past 30 seconds. But Twisted Minds, Na'Vi immediately pushing straight up into San Martin, into the Hacienda area of this map.
Аня весьма сомнительно тут на мотике катается, конечно.
Ну да. Он как будто провоцировал перфекта, типа.
Мне кажется, Бибели просто сейчас в Нави залетят в малую Хасиенду. Или в конюшню сразу.
To go up to the north and then push in from there because you've got Wildcard that's already now coming in from that position. KDF obviously pushing out on the western side. TMA already trying to take water treatment. There's not as much there. There is still a little bit of room. That'll most likely go to day trade. So what does that then mean for New Happy? Cerberus, you probably have to just push up from the south going into the north where a lot of teams are.
А Данте куда уезжает?
United right now.
Умирать один в одиночестве, типа. Минус клип, походу.
So again, a lot of very aggressive maneuvers, despite being earlier on in the game. We see Yahoo versus BBL in the kill feed. There's a bunch of action happening. Oh, that's a flash right in Clip's face.
Oh, Clip's in trouble here. He's completely outnumbered.
Уже кто-то God of War сегодня стримит, да?
Help him out, trying to use that smoke. Now, Overpeakers are getting into their vehicles. They may feel like they can get here in time to try and help this. No, they actually got out of the vehicles. They've left Clip to his own devices here. Flash goes out just to maybe just try and get away. I don't think he's looking to take the fight necessarily. It's more so just defensive positioning. Just try and play the smoke as best as he can. But it is dissipating. And again, as I said, no one from Overpeakers is making their way over here at all. They are not on the move. They are not coming to save the day. As Dante gets knocked, he will be eliminated. Tycon will take that one. Clip does get one. He should...
Маша, есть русская озвучка у чувака с ником Агрессор на Твиче. Поинтересуйся у него, чё, кого, куда там.
Yeah, as I said, Overpeakers did not even entertain the idea of making their way over.
Way too risky.
Да там у всех с русской озвучкой, походу.
Would have been a coin flip in a way. So I don't mind the fact that they were forced to keep Leaf Clib by himself, hold on to their position with this northern shift. Everyone else is moving around. QM trying to pull away from United and Cerberus, but where are they going to go? They're going into that same area that we just saw action happening.
This was a minute ago from Yahoo, and the sprayed out onto BBL. They are now down to 2 players. That was Marco eliminated. So 40 seconds until phase 3. Question mark now after losing Dante, have lost Phil first. Down to 2. Aduzi and Hobbit still on a donut, and it may continue. What a shot from Shimboy with the MK14. Aduzi spinning around hopelessly, kind of as hopeless as QM at the moment.
Smokes out, healing up before going for the revive. It's center, that's something, but with the angle that Yoho has, those vehicles are going to go up in flames. Hoping for the vehicle explosion to finish off the team that still has 0 points. Circle stays in this general area. Slight shift towards the left. The revive on a Hobbit does come out.
What do you do if you're KDF? Do you group up? Do you try and play space early phase 3, considering the circle, considering this lobby? Right now they're holding their split. It's largely central. Does that invite pressure? Does that invite a send?
With the open flat area around KDF, yeah, you might want to think about condensing on up, but they don't seem to be moving just yet. Twisted Minds, Patulin holding off the south side, watching the backfill. His team went to San Martin very, very early, and because it hasn't been the center of the zone, we haven't seen that sort of urban finish, like everyone bombing into it, round after round.
What a seat swap from Tycon. Oh, actually, never mind. He wasn't seat swapping. Still a really good shot there on the move from that distance. So phase 3, right on top of that QM position at least. They might be able to do something from there as a duo. So many teams in and around that position.
Так, чат, я сгонял за чипсами, теперь я с чипсами. Стало немножечко интереснее.
That have done also a lot of rotating from the south side. They now make their way in from the west. And Wildcard do group up into a really good position, but you can see on the horizon, HS popping up. You happy will be pretty much close by to Wildcard and Day Trade there too. A lot of teams in that vicinity.
We've lost one team already, but I have a feeling that space is becoming very, very limited right now. E-United and Cerberus rotating next to each other. Shots coming out. Hisaki doesn't take any damage. It's actually recovering fire from Tycon. That's absolutely huge.
Hisaki has been knocked out, will be probably eliminated unless Tycon can get a couple more eliminations here and wipe out E-United. Hisaki has not been flushed yet. Name from Tycon, a little bit off the mark.
Блин, нормально пацан поспрейл. Надо еще хаету додать им.
Duckmine making his way in as well, so more reinforcements are coming for Cerberus, but Tycon has done a
Хорошо!
kickstart as well. The nades are on point. He just says
Он еще обходит идеально. Идеально сыграно просто чуваком.
Опять в соляную для Тайкона.
Да.
United had no other option but to try and rotate here on the east side, run into Cerberus. It's just been very, very unlucky timings on the side of the North American roster. Flood running away, tail between his legs. Cerberus 4 kills already. Lost Hisaki, but they're in a reasonable enough position when it's phase 3. I feel like the pressure of this round is still at, like, about to reach boiling point.
At the conclusion of PCS 7 APAC, there were questions. Is Tycon the best player in the region or one of? Right now, he is making a statement at PGC.
Можно посмотреть, немножечко чилануть и потом пойти играть.
18 years of age after just one PCS event, now at PGC. A dramatic rise to the top, and it's a circle shift though to the bottom towards San Martin. And that 2-2 split.
Вот этой зоне уже не знаю сколько лет. Года 4.
No, I mean they haven't gotten to vehicles just yet, but they should. They're not yet. I'm really worried about that. That is ambitious.
Коэмы даже фрага ни одного не сделали за 4 игры, да? Офигеть.
But I mean they're still not in vehicles. Okay, we'll see how it plays out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the idiot. I'm just here at the desk. They're the ones actually playing the game in the winners bracket, so they must know something that I don't.
Well, it's more so the greedy nature of it in my eyes. Phase 4, there's teams up north. You've got Day Trade over Peakers. You've also still got a couple of teams out west. Like, Wildcard may look at that position of Guangdong Freaks and think we might have to push into that compound. But more importantly, then you've got the team south pushing out of San Martin. Where do they go as well? Now, obviously, in terms of information, these teams are probably not aware that it's a 2-2 split. This is just a greed play from the Guangdong Freaks, hoping that the Phase 5 circle, they'll have the split, and then they play off of that circle shift.
New Happy here on the west side. We saw Wildcard just barely, it feels like, beat them to that compound, but the circle shift is going to force New Happy to go through that direction unless they want to make a wrap another which way. Tai Lu rotating in onto the survivors of BBL. Good shot, good knock going in from Smash once again.
Oh my god.
He is smashing the opponents. I know the weak pun, but it was right there.
It was there, yeah,
I had to take it, sorry.
6 kills for BBL, 5 of them to Smash, 13 kills now, and they are very slowly getting out of the bottom end of the standings. Duckmine, that's a long-range knockdown from Uber and a good angle. Not too far, but still a really good kill. Uber having a wonderful tournament so far. Really no surprise to anyone, though. Minute 20 till phase 5.
Чуваки просто по опену гоняют, как бы, нормально.
Cross up north, not inside of the circle, and over peakers obviously trying to...
Сейчас мало места, где играть.
But I think Guangdong Freaks are going to get away with this 2-2 split phase 4, and all the credit to them. They will be able to play on phase 5, and they should, from that, get best position.
Overpeakers, day trade, where do they go? In fact, where does New Happy go? They don't want to push into Wildcard's compound. They're just going to shift on into a small little position that they can hold on to on the edge, but they know they're going to need to send it somewhere at some point. Ooh, vehicle up.
Нави одну игру выиграли, и тут же в топ-2.
Or he's going to try and play it safe and quiet and sneaky rat-like.
Yeah, I don't think he's in a position really to get too overly aggressive there. The way that the Overpeakers have made that move onto day trade, James
Ликвиды как там, норм всё?
subsequently knocked down really early in that push too from the Overpeakers, and that's probably given warning to the last 2 players to just back out and see if they can now play for some placement points. Really unfortunate push there from the Overpeakers. And honestly, 4 matches in, only the 14 points. They do not find themselves really that close to the top 8 at the moment. Phase 5 we go. Surely Cameron KDF will not go for one more circle greed on the 2-2 split. Regardless of what happens from here, I expect them to group up, and they don't really get the circle shift. It's Yahoo that copped the phase 5 circle. Flood goes down to the blue. United out early for match 4.
Yeah, you can tell they're not particularly happy with
Как же Нави там кайфует.
They're in a good spot on the leaderboard.
Они, правда, не фармят ни хрена.
Там Яху кайфуют, они с первого круга сидят в этом кемпе.
This is the superior of the 2 spots that they had. They have to hold the west side and then play once the circle is closed into the east, into the more open area.
20 minutes has elapsed here in match 4. We've got one more match 4 today after this still to play. 10 matches in total for the winners bracket, though. A reminder. Aren't too many more games to play. Every match so valuable, so vital. Wildcard, New Happy. Extremely close to each other on the leaderboard and in the game. And it's Maxi that will get a knock onto Balmorth. It's a strange push from Boochild, but it's really successful on the back of the buggy.
Агрессивненько. Сейчас взорвется машина, не?
We'll punish him for pushing close to his window.
It's a very, very Hail Mary play by Day Trade, but it's because TMA have full control of this area. They can just hang out, they can just watch the refugees of these spaces and then just play below.
Клевая же идея была у Day Trader.
Да.
Будку за зоной приехать. Вайлдкарды сидели всю, целую зону АФК в кемпе и так и не начекали, что у них сосиску отдали. Тоже как тебе? Нормально играют парни на Глобале?
Again, TMAs is holding strong in this area. They
can't Никакой умирать едут? Понимаю.
They have full control. Ducks the vehicle. All into HS. Getting shot in the back. They're happy. There really weren't that many options, and they just try and go towards the north.
Давай, братишка. Прокатились, пацаны.
17-е чё хотят?
Ну, кстати, 17-е нормально сейчас поиграют тут.
Group of teams and players making their way to this position, which is not really in the circle either.
There's a small corner of it, maybe. There's like one building in this compound, which is why 17 actually really good rotation by them, and this forces Wildcard away to contest this compound rather than trying to deal more damage into TMA. One knock already, actually 2 knocks against 17.
Пока начало не очень хорошее файта, конечно, у пацанов.
Only Nikus and Greg shot though for Wildcard, just the duo that is remaining in the push against the team that is top of the standings right now.
Запнулся он там?
Мизинчиком ударился.
Show has been revived as well, playing off of the noise that Nikus is making. Really well
Плохо
played.
сыграно.
Shouty D, really good patience, and Wildcard will be eliminated. So 8 teams remaining. Very shortly after Wildcard, it was Cerberus eliminated in 9th.
Сейчас 17-е могут спокойно сесть в тачки и приехать на будку. Между...
могут на дозу наебало заехать и там играть.
Ну, могут не наебал, а могут на будку между ними, между...
Да нафига они не живут в этой будке?
Там же ЛГ.
Так у тебя в спине 2 склада, ты как фулкой там будешь жить? Просто надо заехать на дозу, убить дозу и все, играть. Вон видишь, они хотят по смокам туда.
Ну что, сделает Адоус один фраг, нет?
Есть ощущение, что они нокнут двоих, но всех доедят.
Probably for not much longer if this is a successful push from 17. What a nade from a doozy though. Hobbit still some ammunition as well in that magazine. Can fire out and he has to. He gets that final kill.
Хорошая позиция, да, такая?
Really good nade from a doozy. He'll get revived as well from his team.
Сложно попасть.
Still in the circle and then making a bit of a run here in match 4, and they needed to, but here comes a push now from TMA, being protected. Hobbit, he just gets crushed, but it's still a bit of valuable cover.
Он еще ушатал
He falls, he dies, it's Akari that gets that kill, not even TMA get it. 5 kills for TMA.
Но они сделали хотя бы 3 фрага.
But you can see the openness of the area, unless they get every single shift remaining in the game, and it's not going to be the center position no matter if it goes hard shift north twice in a row. They're going to have to try and find something and probably make a smoke run. A vehicle run would be way too risky at this moment, you have to imagine. Healing on up, just stay low, stay prone for now, and hope that everyone else, you know, makes it easier on them at the very least. Get a few more kills, weaken the opposing teams as much as possible.
Replay of that nade from Meduzi, which, despite himself being knocked down really quickly after throwing that nade, Hobbits was able to follow it up. Still 4 alive for KDF. Having 4 alive in that kind of position really helps them out. They've got numbers that they can at least use to send onto a position, but Twisted Minds also with 4 just directly below them.
Он вообще не тут или что, блядь?
He's got 5 of 6. Why not go for a few more?
Да кто его знает?
У него тиммейта только что оттуда нокнули.
Сейчас смотри, блин, было бы прикольно, если бы она вперед хотела.
But it does remove cover, and it means that it's going to make it a little bit easier for KDF or BBL with the 2 wide off angles to potentially find a shot of a toe, a finger.
Нави спокойно, вон пожарку могут забрать.
Phase 7 onto Yahoo. Navi, of course, out the back.
Они боятся, что там засада. Они пока и на граунде могут поиграть.
They don't even need to get into the compound, Navi. They can just
Бедолаги.
Yahoo can't put pressure on them until
Их просто вся карта фокусит.
Но они оттуда уже вряд ли выйдут.
В смысле вряд ли? Конечно, они оттуда не выйдут.
Не, ну если бы много смоков у них было, там,
да,
вряд ли смоки остались.
Survive this. They need to get a knock of their own, which is why they keep peeking up, but the shots from Freaks just keep on landing.
TMA doing a wonderful job in staying alive for this long, considering the position they are in. Position that would be probably impossible to get out of alive. Akari just farming the damage numbers down onto Shanghai will probably be.
Они не ту сторону отпикивают, им BBL надо отпикивать, они зачем-то вправо.
Obviously for KDF and BBL both wanting to make sure that TMA cannot get out of this position. Both will most likely just hold their current positions until TMA are forced out of their position.
Ну просто BBL они левым плечом пикают, а этих правым. Видимо, поэтому.
They want to try and collect these kills here. They can get every single kill that's available for them. Smash with another knock. The Lulu is there for the immediate trade, and now KDF, they're actually, where are they going? They're sending it towards the north. They want to take this fight. They don't want to push.
Вот это ЛГ, я тебе говорил.
There's a shack and there's also some decent rocks. This is not awful, but they have to deal with TMA, which finally they go down to the blue, and obviously still BBL somewhat as well. Yahoo have not been able to stop this push from the Guangdong Freaks. They're in the circle in their current position. Not only that, but you can even push further in to the shack, to those rocks on the north side of this. And this does mean Yahoo is going to be surrounded. They've got BBL on one side, Navi to the south, along with Twisted Minds, and the Guangdong Freaks with a good position to the north of this compound.
Kari still with the off angle. trying to keep some pressure onto your host so they can't use that high ground peak to, you know, put too much return pressure back on a KDF. But here's Thunderlost there, trying to get the lineup, trying to find the angle.
Na'Vi have taken the warehouse too, so they're not just sort of holding on the rocks anymore. They're understanding that they've got some space.
Ну вот нечего болеть за китайцев.
So they're not able to control the entirety of this position themselves. They have to.
У азиатов всегда с ротациями проблемы были.
This allows Na'Vi to be completely safe on the backside of this at the warehouse. They can really put the pressure onto Twisted Minds. The fact that BBL is still in this game is a huge effort, and they get the knock onto Shimboy. Again, they only got the 3 players, and Shimboy's in a different building. That's going to force Punage to momentarily go for that revive. There's only really Balefrost that is keeping pressure on those outside of this position.
Чат, кто-то знает, сколько God of War в Украине стоит? На нахер! Идеальная просто.
Хуя, он дальше побежал. Ты чё, вообще попутал?
Now he's actually in a really aggressive position and gets punished by Punage. I think just
это
for a
вообще
moment
как бы
Vendor's
это
got
не
a little bit
тупо.
greedy, a little bit bloodthirsty, and they both fall at the same time. The Guangdong Freaks, along with Punage from Yahoo, will finish off the 2 members of BBL. Yahoo,
Но он поверил, что он может, видишь?
Он может в опыне под 2 сквада бежать.
Belfrost does get away. He's able to heal up a look at Twisted Minds. They're on their own push in. They smoke off Na'Vi, and now they get themselves into their own building inside this compound. And this is phase 8. It's going to center up in the middle of all of this hard cover. It's now into KDF to try and find a way in. Only one of them is left standing.
Нави в итоге запустили каналки.
Сейчас игра превращается в КС.
Почему в КС?
Потому что квадратная карта, и нужно каждый пиксель досматривать.
Example with the angle. How are they going to play this one out? We know where it's going to end. It's going to end in the courtyard. School fight style. Another spray hits a lot onto the windowsill. It's another game of a waiting game right now. Who's going to peek out win?
Who's going to get a roof position? That's what I want to know. With this kind of...
Я так понял... Да, на плойку. Я так понял, на украинской версии игры еще русская озвучка есть.
But it's going to be risky to get there.
But if you can get there, is that a big win condition? I think it is. I think if you're Na'Vi, I think you might have to think about that as a gamble in a way, because if you pull it off, I think you then suddenly become the best chance to win the game. But obviously,
Зона, я так понял, прямо на лице у выхода у Нави.
Нет, чуть-чуть во дворе.
But Twisted Minds would be fools to not be watching for it, just because of how strong it is.
Yep. So 4 versus 3. Yahoo outnumbered.
Ну, тут у Навей фул преимущество с крышей.
At the very least, considering where
Так
we're
он
at here in the winners
крышу разве
bracket, they're
кто-то
all pretty
забрал?
comfortable on the higher end of the leaderboard.
Ну, я думаю, что они заберут.
Я думаю, что нет.
Collect these points right here, right now. But it goes a long way. Punage, gets knocked down by Batulans. Yet the AWM in hand. Not sure if that's the correct weaponry for that kind of fight. Molotov and the Nat will not find what they're looking for, because obviously Shimboy was there to pick up the pieces for Yahoo. Mal on the stairs.
Подскажи, пожалуйста, говорит, я с Казахстана. У меня наушники Razer Hammerhead V2, камера у меня Sony A6000 и объектив Sigma 16 и 1.4. $56? А сколько в гривнах-то?
The game sense, the understanding here from all 3 teams.
Oh, wait. Yoho aren't just going towards the center. They're completely rotating away. Punage is being left behind to deal some damage to Twisted Minds. Twisted Minds have very little space now, because Example has been holding it down to this window this entire time. And look at Aya. Similar situation there for Na'Vi. They have a lot of angles.
3400, да?
Example having that balcony is at least still somewhat.
А у тебя есть аккаунт Артмен от плойки? Типа, если ты покупаешь, я тебе деньги отправлю. А я, интересно, смогу этим аккаунтом пользоваться?
Sorry, I mean the Molotovs as well, denying all of these positions. Mal will start it off. In fact, he'll just finish it off as well, because he's gotten 2 immediately. Make that 3.
Надо загуглить этот момент.
They will not even get to fight. Na'Vi have just annihilated them and might just take out.
Ну, это победа Нави, 2-я подряд. Грац.
Navi of old are fighting strong. Back-to-back wins. They made that look so easy, holding TM as well as Yahoo out. It wasn't even like they had a huge advantage. It was 4 versus 4 versus 3. And yet it seemed like they were not sweating any second. Roof access or not, they were the landlords of that building, of that compound.
I wonder if maybe in hindsight you would rather let them go on the roof and try and let them silhouette be somewhat, I guess, standing out, I guess. But in the end, Na'Vi played that perfectly. They didn't overcommit. Once it was mollied off, they just didn't even bother. They knew it was being watched. They went around the backside of the building. But even going back further than that, the way they played the south side, the way they played the cliffs, really, really calculated game from Na'Vi. And I tell you what, the way
2300 или 2070?
They are dangerous.
Yeah, this is a very, very scary team. Scary for everyone in this lobby, essentially. They might be the team that completely just takes away the points here and takes away the top of the leaderboard right now, but one game left of Miramar. We're going to go to the desk to get us ready for the finale of the day.
It's the back-to-back for Na'Vi. They put huge points on the board, and in a precarious final circle as well, they come out very much on top. Joining me at the desk, Toby as well as Avenger. Avenger, Na'Vi blasting out of control.
The amount of control they had from that high ground and from also the...
Он там его от бедра нокнул в голову.
They got the vast majority of the last two teams. Yahoo obviously not only being 3, rougher for them, but still Twisted Minds got absolutely...
Так, ладно, пошел гуглить, короче, как нам это сделать лучше, чтобы у меня завтра была русская озвучка.
Navi, usually the team coming into that compound, it's so hard to breach into. Yahoo gives them, we'll give them one building and see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to give a building to Navi because they sure as hell deleted the opponents there.
Let's take a look at the highlights from this game, and already starting things off with Danawa having a bit of a bad spell.
Smash.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's BBL that wants to contest. They've said it before. We don't want to just have the low ground. We want to have church as well. Dynamo took the fight to them. Well, they paid the price.
When you have this BBL split here, you need to have this church. It does not work without the church and the entry that you're able to get up there. Tycon again, though, guys. He is the top fragger currently after 4 games. It is so impressive to see him continue after what he was also able to do in the group stage. Smash also, fantastic game, and they absolutely smashed this one without a pun. To be able to get into this late game in such a situation here is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. As we see, oh no, not this nade.
Oh, that was a great nade.
Onto your sacrifice.
Onto one of your fancy teams.
Don't worry, because then example's carrying me.
I feel like the build-up to this entire end game was really interesting to me because we just saw now all these teams coming in from the north being forced to hard speed, like full speed, sent it down towards the south. New Heavy driving across the entire circle just to die in the end of it. But back towards the beginning, southern plane path with a northwest circle to follow. At 6 minutes, no one was sitting north of Saint Martin. So it took a long time for some of those teams to wrap all the way up north. But then you get that circle followed by 3 southern hardships and all kinds of hell break loose.
2 in a row in a lobby like this. Na'Vi putting themselves in #1 spot completely. 18 points go their way. For Yahoo, they get themselves 13. BBL with 11. And they needed those. They were having a little bit of a rougher time, I suppose. Where were they before this game?
They were far behind. BBL, they are an 18 now total, and so that's 7 points in 3 games. Nice. Obviously rough. But Na'Vi now jumping into the 51-point mark here with this one. This is almost, I would say, guaranteed at this point for them to go to the final.
Yeah. I mean, even if they stop playing now, my bet is that we're sitting around 50-55 for the 8th place cutoff.
I think 60.
After this, and even then, I mean, it's phenomenal. Back-to-back wins, kills to boot as well. That is exactly what you want to have.
Yeah, terrifying stuff for them. I mean, not only did they place #1 in Group A, everyone considered that to be an extreme group, but now they're looking so good here as well, with Alia and Melman leading the charge. And this is exactly what we said about this team in the previous game. Melman may have only got 1 kill with not that much damage in the previous game, but he can still step up around them as well.
There's not a player that can't deliver, and right now they are all doing exactly that. It's scary to imagine a team like this can sit at the very bottom of PCS in EU, and then the tournament to follow, they come out and absolutely dumpster everyone.
The important tournament, they come out and completely trash
it's just wild to me how they can be this much night and day, because they're looking unstoppable right now.
Honestly, PCS 7 may have been an amazing an amazing wake-up call.
Yeah.
Because quite honestly, doing that poorly and then coming in here, they must have been working hard.
Same case for BBL, didn't go to PGC 7. They're really worried about not going to here at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Now they're here, they're doing good. I'll say this though, the control and the smoke and utility usage for Na'Vi in that game is literally what won. Offensive smokes, containing the two other teams, making sure they could not get out of any spots, and then making sure they obviously use some shotguns in there with some close range, but still, they had 1 kill going into that. They got 7 in the late game. They got all of it.
So not only are our veterans exciting to watch, but I think even our, in inverted commas, newcomers are kind of amazing to watch as well. We've watched, as you see the points here as well, Tycon is a prodigy of the region.
Unstoppable. I mean, he is only now of age to some extent, and coming in, taking the fight to the best of them. The way that he pretty much demolished all of United and that push on forward, that's... you're not supposed to be that good when you're that young.
Now, let's take a look at the overalls then. We've got ourselves Na'Vi number 1, of course, 17 Yahoo up there as well. Cerberus falls 1 place, but at the same time, Twisted Minds finds themselves in another late game scenario to keep them firmly in the top 8.
A little bit of a sponging in the top, of course, but still, one good game. If you're in the bottom half, you can still get into the top 8. It's still doable here with 1 game to go for the day. Number 1.
Big names not in the top 8 just yet. New Happy, of course. We saw Overpeakers doing amazingly in Group A as well, but all these teams need a bit more traction.
And honestly, I mean, if you're a bottom team right now, the best thing you can hope for is that it's the same 2-3 teams at the top that are racking up the points, because that means the gap up to that top 8 spot won't be as far. They don't care that there's a jump up to 1st or 2nd or 3rd. They need to still be available to reach 8th.
And we're seeing that consistency from Na'Vi, from 17, Twisted Minds doing that as well. So there is the potential that the sponging continues.
And there's a lot of teams that we saw being able to do well in our group stage, and they continue to do well. On the other side, New Happy still, early days, still only 4 games. Just 6 more to go total.
All right, well, we're going to go to a break. When we return, we'll see if Svampland continues here at PGC 2022. So join us right after this for one more Miramar for the day.
Commotion as they can. Question mark now forced to be 4 in a vehicle, make their play on forward, driving straight past all of Gen G and somehow surviving while doing so. As I say that, Flood finds one of the day from Ada. Picture perfect, finds the final 3.
PPL, should they be able to get the kills here, they would have plenty of room to scout their way forward. They did manage to get out of the compound that they were sharing with Luminosity, so I guess that's a start. That molly might actually be on point too. Yep, there you go.
There it is. Nicely placed there by Code Marco. Underneath the bridge right now. Nobody really looking to third party this. Oh, now Petrichor is. Great job. Nicely done, Code Marco.
Don't recall having ever seen that before, but it really paid off.
They're going to stop just off to the west of that wild card warehouse. Meanwhile, TMA going to use that as an opportunity. I think they've read the situation. They know there's 2 here. Cian's going to find 1. Cian's going to find 2 as Ty Lu hold the line.
Now we know there's no one there, but little do we normally know. Oh, no, here's the kryptonite. The Donat kryptonite.
Oh boy, yeah, USG, they're gonna run face first into some wild cards once again, and just like last time, immediate three-piece live on that western edge. Keep an eye on that as Ixlef comes through the smoke. He's gonna find 8C, and the AUG will win that fight. And he's gonna find another one. Face goes down, and just like that, Petrichor rose. Yes, indeed. And look at Tyloo. They want to get a little bit of piece of this as they are very secure in their spot as United just kind of hanging out in shacks, but the grenades aren't falling for Godmeow, unfortunately. That one will, though, and that should be 2 down. Whoa. 1 will go down. Rella will stay alive, but there's another one coming. Flood actually just going to, yeah, we're done. That's fine.
Tyloo and Petrichor here as well. This is the Chinese magnet, and they all want a piece of this compound.
Everybody, as soon as Wildcard leaves, they're trying to send it. Chaitong going to take a few shots at the Petrichor row, but look at 17. They're going to find a few knocks there, as now Chaitong down the last player for Tyloo, and just like that, Pero is taken out by Show.
Improvements to the folded shield. Some spawn rate adjustments for vehicles, and a collaboration with one of the best footballers in the world. All this and more as we dive into the Update 20.2 patch report. First up, the folded shield is getting a few changes based on community feedback. The inventory weight has been reduced, weapon durability increased for both guns and grenades, and it now installs in half the time. You'll also find it a bit harder to run over than before, with a vehicle now needing to be going at least 10 kilometers per hour, instead of the 1 kilometer per hour it was before. In addition, the shield can now be placed back into your inventory, and deployment can be cancelled before it finishes. Let us know what you think about these requested changes. Next up, vehicles on Erangel and Miramar are getting a slight adjustment, with some spawning more and less frequently. You'll now find more UAZs and Dacias on Erangel, and more Murados and pickups on Miramar. To contrast, we've lowered the amount of boats, buggies, and aqua rails on Erangel. And speaking of maps, this update's rotation will now include Erangel, Miramar, Tago, and Destin for all regions. Regions with map select enabled will also have the option of playing on Sanaa, while regions without will instead drop into Karakin. As usual, the ranked rotation will remain Erangel, Miramar, and Tago. This update also features a collaboration with one of the best footballers in the game, Neymar Jr. For a limited time, you can pick up several Neymar-themed items in the store. Gear up and score big. There's also a reduction in the number of multi-care packages on Tago, some MMR adjustments for normal games, new workshop skins, and more. So be sure to check out the patch notes for full details. Update 20.2 is here, so fold up your shield, pack up the Dacia, and go catch a ball game. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
Back-to-back victories for Na'Vi has them on the precipice of an appearance at the Grand Finals already after 4 matches. One more game to go today for the winners bracket. Of course, 5 more to go tomorrow, Cameron, but it is starting to get to maybe nervous territory for those teams towards the bottom of the standings. They need to pick their game up.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of surge from, well, surge relative to the first 3 rounds from QM, but they're going to need to continue to push that further and further, as well as a bunch of different teams as well, because yes, there is Na'Vi in the lead. They would essentially have to bomb out with 0 points 6 games in a row to not go to the Grand Finals.
Yep.
The other teams, like towards the bottom, that middle section is getting very, very packed. So it's not just about finding points yourselves, but also hoping that the teams in your way also drop off, and that is completely unreliable.
Na'Vi were just far too clinical at the end of that game, and right now looking like one of the best teams in this tournament. Along with probably 17 at 40 points, they're not too far away, considering there's still 6 more matches for them to play. Obviously, towards the bottom, we saw BBL turn some things around. Smash, a large influence for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Smash was insane. If they can put him in a position to keep getting those kills, keep dealing that damage, then I think BBL are going to have a shot, but they can't have this be a one-off today. They need to end Miramar strong both maps in a row.
There's a lot of teams that need to end strong here on Miramar, and this is the end of the line for day number 1 of the winners bracket. Match 5, Miramar, final game, final chance to get some very valuable points.
Game start, match 5. Who is going to take home the last chicken dinner of the day? We had 2 in a row from Na'Vi. Can they make it a three-peat? Can they make it a hat trick? Or is another team going to enter the mix, enter the fray?
There is one thought in that. If Na'Vi do go on and have another massive game, considering they're already largely qualified for the grand finals, they end up soaking points, right? Which may help out those teams towards the bottom, depending on, of course, who they're taking the points away from. Final play path for the day, and he's going to go right over Lost Leonas. Tycon 16 from 4 matches.
Последняя игра сегодняшнего дня, чатик.
Even leading above Na'Vi. I mean, Example has 10, he's second in line, and still 6 kills behind Tycon.
Чё, вы готовы, дети?
Back-to-back wins.
Yeah, it sort of shows the, I guess, the approach that, or at least the execution contrast between Cerberus and Na'Vi. Na'Vi is very much a team effort. Everyone is getting involved in some way, whereas in Cerberus, not a knock against them, but they are being carried heavily by Tycon right now. The rest of the team are, you know, they're following up strong. It's not like Tycon is the only one doing any work at all, but it is definitely a case of if Tycon goes down early, Cerberus there's going to be a lot of questions on how they can continue to perform.
Через 6 часов, Маш.
Very valuable fraggers on that roster, so it's not necessarily just meant to be the one show that they've got happening at the moment, but Tycon is just that good in that kind of state of mind as to his performance at the moment. That's our final circle.
О, Нави хорошо занимают, там что, минус. Лутать будут,
не? So this one not being so far north is going to be not as brutal as far as rotation distances. But of course, if you're looking day trade at and over peakers, for example, all the way in from the west side, they're not going to have a great fun time, but they can make another similar.
А собака еще не приходил тоже?
All the way up and around.
Как обычно, пес.
El Azahar sort of area for Na'Vi though. They're already center, essentially.
Now, since we're into match 5, already turning somewhat of an attention, obviously, to tomorrow, where we will have our final 5 matches. Day trade, 22 points, 8th place. So a couple points away from solidifying that cutoff position at around, say, the 30-point mark. Might just fall slightly below that. Keeping that in mind, if you're a tie loop, you're a question mark down the bottom, still in single digits. You know, you're almost in that position where you're going to need 60 points in 5 matches if you don't finish strong here on the final game of the day. Now, BBL, they got themselves up to 18 points, so they're in and around the action now, and all the way down to probably even Danawa on 13 points, all still well and truly within a good shot. They just have to start to find some more fortune. Over Peakers, though, the surprise for me, Cameron, 15 points, and even probably New Happier on 18 points. Both started okay, and both have kind of dropped off as the day has progressed.
I mean, coming into group stage is always going to be a challenge coming in from your region because you don't know what the lobby is going to look like. You still have to figure out.
Этот билмод похож на Богарта, который скинул 50 килограмм.
How contesting for the middle are we going to be having to deal with? And then you have 15 games in group stage, and now you have to relearn all of that over again, which is why teams that start fast, start strong have such an advantage here. I don't think that New Happy I don't think we're playing particularly.
Блин, ну это просто великолепно, волшебно просто.
Ой,
PUBG.
Overly safe rotations. I'm thinking back to game number 1, how they played river sort of spot. I don't know if they don't have the confidence that they started this event with.
Да, он все что-то рассказывает там. Комментатор. Блин, ну Аля сейчас может подставиться вполне, хотя он стопудово слышит этот мотик, да, и он так на халяву, походу, пострелял, чтобы они знали, что он тут.
Going into it the way he's playing. Over Peakers, though, as we were sort of just touching on them, obviously they've kind of quietened down as the day's gone on. They're in Monte Nuevo at the moment. look, they got a distance to travel. They're not going to get prior positions. They're going to be coming in late. I think they have to play into that a little bit more. They have to go back to what they were able to achieve on the first day, especially of the group stage, where they were so aggressive. We talked about that earlier in the broadcast. And still, they've just not quite been able to recapture that form.
The problem is...
Блин, ну эти фотки с кулаками, я уже не могу на них смотреть. Меня коробит капец просто.
What looks to be an aggressive maneuver is just you driving into a brick wall. So it's well and good to be looking for those opportunities, but if the defensive teams aren't giving them to you, there's only so much that you can really do, which is why it's important to have a macro playbook there to go with if a fight isn't revealing itself.
Пути. Так... Боже, я думаю, где ты, Чепу? А как? Ты в АФК улетел, что ли?
Да.
Ясно.
Ты же клоун, блядь, не можешь права дать? Сложно же.
Да я не помню как. На конкретную комнату я уже пару раз пытался. Забыл. Раньше без проблем вообще за 5 сек делал. А, ну все, сейчас дам, короче.
Yeah, Duckmai will open it up with a knockdown onto Quetpot.
Oh, that distance too. Great shot.
But is this convertible? That's the question. To me, the answer is no.
Hey, I mean, style points. I don't care about I'm down with the style points for now. The Veloz is there to go for the revive to allow BBL to get back to 4 strong and continue on into this round. A lot of smokes in play. That's a big investment earlier on.
Yeah.
But hey, it's worth it to get the revive.
And without those smokes, I think Haisaki did have an angle there to maybe punish that revive, potentially. So, still better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to be losing 1, maybe even 2 players this early on.
Wait, why'd you drop your vehicle like that? Did not have, okay, I guess it didn't have a tire, but this is... Well, either way, this is BBL running out in the open. So if they can get down to that little hard cover.
It is a distance away. I mean, these shots are very hard to land if you're Cerberus, right? So
but they only need 1.
Yeah, we just saw that.
Imagine if I said that and they landed the headshot. Ah, that's okay. I mean, that would have been my show reel, but it's fine. We'll get another one.
Well, here's the replay of
Иди проверяй, чепухня.
Perfectly aligned to Quetpa's head. But very difficult.
Слышь?
They happen every now and then, obviously, on Miramar,
А?
actually, but
Не пойду я никуда.
Ясно.
BBL, though, I mean, really impressive from them in the last game, as we will hold
Хорошего настроения всем. Здорово, здорово, спасибо. 64 лайф. Все друг от друга текают. 8-я минута. Ничего интересного, просто. Жопа какая-то. Ребят, не забывайте там лайк прожимать на ютубчике. По-братски. Ну, Коэмы, блин, выглядит что-то очень как-то растерянно сегодня, я не знаю. Одна победа их отделяет от того, чтобы в топ-8 зайти на самом деле. Надо как-то подсобраться. Что-то прям это они... Что-то прям не то.
Видимо, шоколадки от Юли плохо работают.
Нифига себе. Сеул чуть в лобби не уехал, блин. Девятая минута матча. Никто не умер. Ни одно животное на карте не пострадало. И игроки тоже.
Ну да, каналы еще живы.
Да я про курочек. Которых на Мирамаре нету, да? Садовник какой команде?
Он с реквентом, да.
across the building.
Найс. Найс, чувак спрашивает. Ты, блядь, там, ты где-то в криокамере там был, нет?
Года 4.
Ой.
Садовник сейчас играет за команду Wildberries.
If you're ever going to get 3 in a row, this is the way to start it off. So we're 20 seconds away from phase 2. Donat still going for a little bit more on the rotation. Thunderloss just behind them. Will fire a few shots along with BBL from the other side of the road as well. In fact, now Donat making their way to Cerberus.
Блин, ну чё это вот за сплит у КМов? Что это? Жопа какая-то. Чё они делают? Не понимаю. Полутаться они решили там или чё? Кемп над Навис свободен, вообще кайфовый. А, они туда и поехали, походу.
Удивительно, что Батут не на месте Джимза.
Не успел, походу.
Сейчас канава в Нави летят.
Да не, вроде план другой нарисовывается. Добрый вечер, добрый. Сюда. Они что, АФК чувака привезли? Фига себе, его съели. Сексуально этот чувак говорит thank you very much. Ты какую трансляцию смотришь? Англоязычную? Чат, хотите азиатскую трансляцию? Воткну вам. Корейскую, точнее. Они там вообще веселые.
As a contingency plan, but that sort of just that play alone shows the resources that BBL are lacking. They only have 2 vehicles this early on in the game because they lost them due to the Cerberus headshot and then just the sort of domino effect from there on out. But they're alive. That's the important thing for now.
Вот эти вот сиськи, короче, вот эти емкости, они в жизни для чего предназначены? Что это такое? Что это за конструкция? Чат, кто-то знает? Вот эти вот слева, вот. Что они... Что это такое, блин?
Может, водохранилище?
Не знаю.
And it's free, it's open, but it's open for a reason, so it's going to be not the easiest for them, but Wildcard pushing onto Yoho. Sparking has a great angle to defend against this.
Might just get that initial knockdown and does so onto Adam. Balefrost knows that they're entering into his building. Molotov out early to try and deny him space.
Тот нокнулся, чел? Нет? Как так? Он за дверью, что ли?
Really well played at the moment from Yahoo. Reinforcements arriving as well through Shimboy and Punich. Cow with a bit of damage, but he is just
Фига быканул.
the position open for Nikus. Balefrost has played this well. Cow from behind, but Shimboy has arrived in a timely fashion. Yahoo have completely dealt with Wildcard. Only one left. It's Greg's shot, and he's not there.
He's here, but on a not an angle to punish this revive, and it seems that Shimboy and Sparking have figured out his location. QM, in the meantime.
Нефть? Цистерны для топлива? Вы точно поняли, о чем я говорю? Там бетонное сооружение. Там не цистерны ни хрена. Вот эти вот херни. Ну, все, уже не будет их. Потом.
Are unplayable, so it's going to shift towards likely the east.
Southeast maybe.
Типа как в чуме сиськи, как под Лос-Леоносом сиськи, над Лос-Леоносом, точнее, на горе.
A little bit messy from them in that push, very much split between Sparking and Balefrost, who defended very, very well.
esports now, getting ready to move. They're coming in from the east. They already crossed all the way through the center of the map, dodging shots and bullets every which way. Now they got to go back to where they came from, and with just the nature of battle royales and the closing circle, it's going to be even less space available, so they might have to fight a bunch of these teams here on the east side.
О, Елена приехал. Простили пацана.
Keep on rolling, baby.
Чё?
Не, ну за это уже должен был вылетать.
Там просто новый камень. Хранилище для нефти, как в США? Ну-ка. Google нам в помощь, да?
Guangdong Freak still in the blue, coming out of Lamin deep, pushing over towards Server and CC 108. Tough shots, but landing a lot of them onto Shimboy. There's the push now onto E United. Stuns go out, so do these nades as well. Flood holding a wonderful nade from Rallo. Flood can capitalize. Oh, that was so clean and quick from E United onto Yahoo.
Ну смотрите, эта херня сделана не из бетона. А вот здесь в игре эта херня из бетона. Но вообще похоже на то. Да, вероятнее всего вы правы. И лесенки такие же.
Basically soloing the Guangdong Freaks. Ian will go for the revive. Haisaki with a nade in hand. He's got one more in the back pocket as well. Throws it towards the smoke.
Вот и выяснили. Резервуар для хранения нефть, вода, топливо, а может и зерновых культур. Нави с кайфом. А где Коэмы? Вон Коэмы, смотрите, умирать едут, походу. А, они дали ног? А зачем Данте туда заехал? Просто Данте поехал, сдох. Что-то я не понял ничего.
Their winners
Да,
bracket
Барцо
fortunes
тут это
around.
не хэппи,
But
кошмарит.
obviously will just go for a rank tank, try and stay alive, get into a seamlessly off-meta position and try and catch maybe someone off guard later in one of these buildings.
Сейчас Вард еще выйдет, их в спину убьет всех. Ой-ой-ой! Ну как такая хае может не убить человека? Ну как? Батулин минус шел. Ну это просто ног, я думаю. Да, там подымут его без проблем. На карте много вышек для качания нефти. Если присмотреться, их там много.
Also unsuccessful with that. Maybe here, okay, a little bit of damage, it's something, but Tyloo will escape. In fact, they thread the needle past Daytrade and E United holding Junkyard. But where is the finish line here for Tyloo? Where do they pull up? Do they find a ridge? Do they maybe have a bold position here? But they also will still have.
Блин, я не понимаю, как люди могут играть с глушителем на АРке. Я просто не понимаю. Оружие лучше контролится даже без глушителя. Я не очень... Я вообще не понял мува Данте. Вообще не понял. Нам, может быть, переключили не вовремя, но с какой целью они туда пытались? Не пойму.
Что не думали, что там какой-нибудь сплит, и там максимум 2 чела. Данте въехал первый, дал инфу, и они не стали ехать.
New Happy not inside of the top 8 at the moment. They would not like to lose here to QM, but QM need every single point. Dead last at the moment. Nate, it is avoided. Aduzi's got another one. Still the Molotov as well. He's got 4 of them, but the timing.
Nice.
Zipian just runs into his face and blows it to pieces. Aduzi trying to pressure New Happy. Does fall. Hobbits and Phil first are the only 2 remaining.
Так, Вард продолжает кошмарить.
The solo, the rat, last one alive over peak as we'll get in.
There's no reason for Vard to stay quiet. They know that he's there. Might as well go loud if he can find a position, find an angle, and he does just that. But here,
чувак на 0 хп.
Куда делать?
Position to properly defend from, and BBL is punishing that.
They certainly don't, but they are getting a potential revive, I think, onto Isaki. Obviously, Net gone, so only.
Ну, какой ГГ?
TMA. The Shack position's not inside of the circle, so it's not for them. And a very good one by getting the down onto Hobbits. It's only Phil first left for QM, stuck on 5 points, 1 point per game. The question mark. Phil first has to get it surely.
Ой,
that is
плохо
the
подсправил очень.
of the way today has gone for question mark. Easy pickings for TMA. They get a couple more kills, but they've got United sneaking in behind them.
It's not done just yet. There's so little space to play in this zone. It's essentially a field.
Бля, ну 5 поинтов за 5 матчей, это, конечно, ну, очень слабо.
Я знаю одну команду, она также набирала.
А можно название уточнить?
А там что-то с чепух связано было.
Да.
Is exceptional. The man has all the experience in the world to just collect a bit more than this. He knows HS is here. He is almost
Ой-ой-ой. А Вард-то почти, их уничтожил.
The solo player Vard. A tremendous effort. NT.
Couldn't confirm any of the kills, but he makes it hurt against New Happy.
Но это похоже опять на игру Нави. Сейчас все друг друга перестреляют, Нави выигрывают. Единственное плохо, что Нави не фармят это. По-моему, чувак растерялся, куда стрелять не понял. В итоге Тайлу сдохли.
They're pretty happy with the way that actually went home. The CC-108 still alive. They lost 1, but they'll have 3 players alive, Day Trade, and they get into the next circle. Here, phase 5. There goes Tai Lu, out in 10th. No placement points for them. And look at the leaderboard, Cameron. All of the bottom teams are out. This might end up being very top-heavy to close out day 1 of the winners bracket.
TMA defending its New Happy, or at least the hopefully revitalized New Happy, but once again, it's down to HS, and it is now down to nobody because BBL also had an angle. 8 teams remain. We're getting into the placement points now, and as you say, Na'Vi are still just sitting pretty, and they get the shift as well. It's going to have to be a combined effort from the teams remaining to try and upset them.
Типа отсюда выйдет одна команда, сверху будет одна команда, снизу одна команда, справа. Ну короче. И все в оупене потом будут играть.
It's not going to be a comfortable win for either of these teams. And look, they're immediately getting shot at. Daytrade might have an angle onto them as well. Flash does go down to Na'Vi, so that's going to alleviate that pressure just a little bit. But Logos wants to go aggressive. You know he does. He wants to get this over and done with. He's sick of the waiting, sick of the fighting. He just wants the kills, wants the death, and he's able to get the nice spray down.
Blue wanted to go for that swap, get over to the other side, hopefully to safety, but it didn't work. He still had the angle. Shout AD with a double kill. Make it 3. Alive, so at least the placement point gained 4 kills from this one, so they're getting points slowly but surely. He lands a headshot. BBL have to fire back, and they do. Then the loss, a bit of damage onto him as he still goes for it as they are rolling backwards. They might just roll into the grave. Him
Хорошо.
Spoils BBL's party. They're on the edge of the top 8, but they're on the edge of being eliminated in this game.
Я что-то не понял, они катались, конечно, как клоуняки, что-то, по-моему.
Было такое.
3 in a row is looking extraordinarily likely.
У Батулина вечно самый большой пульс.
Once again, they have no other option. The blue is at their back, and him as is still going loud with the SLR. Can't land the shots as effectively this time around. Marco's getting in a position to potentially
да? Они это могут?
From range. Another Molotov at the ready could get another knock. Doesn't go far enough.
It does clear the rock, but I don't think he's really wanted to do that. I think he wanted to go a bit further with that Molotov, and yeah, doesn't quite make the distance. 5 kills for BBL. Points. Well and truly, a team fighting for top 8 going into tomorrow. Only 1 point behind Daytrade at the moment, but they are falling to pieces.
But where can him go? You saw that for a brief moment, the gap in front of him in the next rock, the next tree. If he was able to get that second knock, make it only Kwepa standing alive, there was an opportunity. Yep. Right now, I don't know if he has enough smokes to make that full tunnel needed. Over here, though, 17, high ground, overlooking Daytrade.
All right, so BBL will deal with him as they get rid of Cerberus. 17 Gaming looking to try and do the same now to Daytrade. Daytrade still 3 players alive, considering the...
Ты видишь, как чувак со СЛР стреляет? И каждый шаг у него право, право, шажочек.
And even Navi potentially from the other side.
The grenade doesn't go far enough. But they know that they just destroy the vehicles. That could be the window that they have the angles onto the Daytrade members. The circle continues to favor Navi. Gives a little bit of a nod to E United, but really not much at all.
Ну, Нави, конечно, вообще тупо на точке сидят всю игру.
But they want to get, of course, as much as they can before they eventually go out to, let's just call it Navi.
Нави третий топ, что ли? Ну, похоже на то.
3 wins in a row for Navi. Look, barring a catastrophe, I will say still, BBL 3 and TMA 3 down south. It's not a given. There's still a bit of work to do for Navi.
The problem is all those teams are very likely going to fight each other before they turn their attention towards Navi, just because of essentially the moat of open area around Navi's compound.
Ooh,
17 sending it in on the Daytrade. Shouting he goes down for that.
And that's going to make a very
Ну все, 17 Gaming сдохли тут точно. А, у них еще машина есть.
That utility has now put them in a position where they are gatekeeping the last 2 remaining players, Lilghost and Show. And clearly, Navi do not have an angle onto Daytrade.
Неплохое решение, пацаны.
Like you said, Cameron, they will be fighting each other. This is exactly what Navi
Просто плюс-поинты для новей. Под камень пацаны играть должны. Хера он еще нокает с машины.
But smokes are up defensively for Navi. They can go for that revive. Does this allow the likes of E United or Daytrade to push him from the north while all eyes are down to the south?
We're gonna have to see.
Конечно, неплохо приехали.
Да.
End up trying to control too many angles at once, and something sneaks past them. A good attempt right now for 17. Yeah, Kickstart gets another knock into Alia. This could be it. Navi might not have as much control as we were hoping for. The vehicle's coming in.
And Uber's still down, so it's, well, he just got revived as soon as I completed that sentence. So 3 up now, still having to get the revive. Mel, knocked down onto Flood. That's big. Uber's back down again. Second knock, big for Kickstart, big for E United, but as I said,
неплохо Хуёб-то там пострелял, конечно.
Daytrade continue to show their level of survivability up to the northwest. They've still got 3 up.
Как он это делает? Как он может это делать вообще?
To make the cross, get over to the compound, but Alia needs to get revived. Uber's still low on health. He's been brought up again. Nade to kickstart. He's still alive. No, Mel will finish him off. E United are gone. Navi edge closer to 3 wins in a row.
Good attempt by E United. They had very little to play with. It was a solid showing, but now the circle swings up towards Daytrade.
Ну вообще выглядит так, что Нави уже прошли в гранд-финал. Железобетонно.
The bleed out timers on a few of them have gotten not quite dangerous levels just yet, but it is something to note that could be impactful.
Как ты считаешь?
If Lil
всего игр будет
spoils this for Navi to give
10.
Daytrade the advantage here.
Ну, если 10, то
Navi
да.
are immediately preparing for that. They're swinging down the south. They know it's going to be a 4 versus 1 in this engagement. They have the time to do so, so they're going to push it.
I mean, at this point, obviously, for Navi, they're already going to the grand finals. It's a matter of how many points will they take going into the grand finals. Example, we'll get rid of Lil Ghost. That's 8 kills. They're up to 65. They're making an absolute statement here in the winner's bracket. This is their lobby. They are in control, looking for their 3rd chicken dinner in a row. And it's only Daytrade from Thailand that stands in their way. And they have not been able to move. Daytrade don't have the vehicles that are equipped to get them over that compound. So they've stayed steady, they've stayed strong up north. They're still in the circle, still in the zone. Position known now for Na'Vi, and they can really just hem them in.
Problem is, Daytrade have very little cover. They haven't been able to move any far forward because the second they step out, it's essentially going to be a canvas of the sand behind them for Na'Vi to paint with their guns.
А чё, зачем? Он же может вплоть до дороги проходить спокойно. Чё он боится?
Ну, там могут на склон немного приподняться. И видно будет.
Na'Vi, a team that's already well and truly on their way to the grand finals for Daytrade. Yeah, they're in a great position going into the final 5 matches tomorrow, but can they take anything more out of this game?
Ooh, quick little spot there. For a brief moment, perhaps. But yeah, Na'Vi, they're playing this safe. We know where the game is going to end. Oh, it's going to be just past the road, but it's on the Na'Vi side of things.
Well, example
нету, молики только.
Known. Again,
Дейтрейды тут не выезжают вообще.
Нет, тут вообще не выиграть, я думаю.
Они сейчас за зону побегут все втроем.
Inevitable. Na'Vi are just sweeping closer and closer to the road. Smokes will go out. The last bit of utility expended here from Daytrade. They need a knock. They don't find it. It's Mel. It's Example. It's Na'Vi. They've been flawless. Balmoth at this point understanding that he's got no hope, no chance. Why not just deny it? But you cannot deny that Na'Vi are creating history.
Na'Vi!
PGC 2022. It is back.
Ну молодцы, что 3 топа подряд, уже 100% в гранд-финале команда это. Я думаю, тут без вариков. Слушай, у них моники сколько, интересно? 27, что ли?
They gave virtually nothing to their opponents to try and work with.
Their form is scary. Yeah. The question is it temporary or is it here to stay for the remainder of PGC 2022? Day 3 of their group, they absolutely dominated to get to the top spot. And they've started off
Так смотрится, как будто 27.
They go into the grand finals. Their ticket has already been received. They will be there. It's a matter of who will be joining them.
Yeah, and looking at Daytrade, good performance by them, but they are going to be in that mix of teams fighting for the remaining slots. It is very, very packed in that middle section.
Oh,
the zones that we see separation in leaderboard is a very, very heavy middle zone.
So that's day 1 for the winners bracket finalized. 5 matches remaining, of course, tomorrow. We'll be back.
Это же последнее, да, было?
Да.
Так, ладно, я пошел пока зачились, если там что-то будешь играть, пиши.
Зачилься?
Великолепные, захватывающие, интересные.
Что? Последнее ты сказал?
Интересные очень, вот. И игра, кстати, клевая.
Я понял тебя. Давай. Ладно, чатик, все тогда, будем с вами прощаться. Я думаю, что мы PUBG сегодня все равно поиграем, потому что... Ничего это.
Example, just looking as one of the best players, if not the best player in the world right now.
When Na'Vi is at the top of their game, even when they don't have the upper hand, they come out victorious. Give them just one circle going their way.
Все, давайте на этом тогда будем закругляться. И, возможно, короче, через, ну, буквально полчасика-часик мы с вами вернемся и будем играть ранкед, пабг, я не знаю. Сейчас с пацанами порешаем. Все, давайте, всем спасибо, увидимся. Пока-пока. Завтра God of War будет. Надо разобраться еще, где лучше взять на русском.